Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad to have you. Hopefully you're glad to be here on this beautiful day. I know I am. Let's just take a moment to revel, to vibe.
I'm vibing!
How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today? Feeling good? We'll put chat up on screen. Voila. Nice and long. Always nice and long. Welcome, everybody. Morning Luke just finished Heady? Maybe. Survivor last night. God, what an amazing game. Oh, Jedi Survivor. Okay. Duh. Yeah, man, it picks up too, doesn't it? It gets crazy. And there's a lot of side content too. There's a lot of little side quests, side missions. I actually really like the optional mini game that you can play back at the bar, at Grease's bar. I actually really like that mini game. It's kind of like a mini simulator mode. It's pretty fun. So yeah. Happy Friday. Yeah, happy Friday. I will be honest, until like, I think it was 11 p.m. last night, I thought today was Saturday. I thought yesterday was Friday, because we've had a handful of things that have thrown me for a loop this week. My schedule's all sorts of thrown off. I'm off. Which channel should I join, this or the main? Honestly, Kratos, you probably get more perks that are usable if you join here. You'll still get like big critique videos early if you're a member here versus main channel. But here we stream, so you'll get all of the perks of being a member on the stream. So like, you know, member only streams. Whereas if you're a member on the main channel, there's no way to like actually transition those benefits, which is weird, but what are you gonna do? You're looking swole. Thank you, Hidden One. I think it's the Proud Skeptic tea. I think that's what it is, honestly. It's easy to look swole in a really high quality, nice, amazing, firm, well-designed t-shirt. Oh, that's copyrighted. Like you can get on lukestevensTV.com. Just tossing that out there, okay? And you can also get the Proud Skeptic mug as well, which I have here as well. You have to be ready to drink chai at any moment. That's the key. You got to be ready. Just finished up the platinum for Deathloop yesterday. Up and down experience for me. It was very okay. Definitely understand how Redfall ended up the way it did now. It to me, in a lot of ways, just feels, like I mentioned before, like a weird shift in design commitment. Like when a team is really, really good at one thing, which the team at Arcane, really good at level design, really good at intricate level design where there's tons of paths in and out, but they decided to make like multiplayer games. Why? Like why? Doesn't make any damn sense at all. And they doubled down. They started it with Deathloop, doing this like half thing, and then they shifted over and they did Redfall, which was just a disaster. I really gotta hand it to I wonder if I can find it actually, to Maddie on his podcast. I listened to a little bit of their latest podcast because I just wanted to hear what they were saying about some of the latest stuff, and I actually have to hand it to them. They were actually very, very real. Let me see if I can just find like the transcript. It was in here. I think what Maddie said was just bad. Oh yeah, here. Listen to this. Maddie like actually comes out swinging, and bear in mind, this is a podcast dedicated to Xbox. Like this is an Xbox podcast, and I'll hand it to Maddie. He calls it out.
Days Gone was the last controversial kind of PlayStation game where folks thought it was misunderstood. Redfall is not a misunderstood masterpiece or something along those lines. It's just a bad video game. And Xbox fans had tolerated a lot up until that point. And the problem was we had all kind of collectively kept moving the goalposts, like, okay, this was step forward, that's step forward, but next year, bro, next. And when the next year arrived, with starting with Redfall, and it didn't deliver, that's why everyone snapped. And yeah, nothing's changed. It's just now pure disappointment.
It's hard to argue with that. You know, it's hard to argue with that. And I mean, I think he's right. It's just disappointment after disappointment. There's some tweets and posts by people that are kind of trying to cope a little bit. There was this one. Xbox releases nearly a dozen highly rated successful games, posts great financial reports, is selling consoles faster than they have in previous generations, has dozens of exciting games in the works, releases one not very good game. IGN posts this article, Starfield feels like Xbox's last chance at redemption. Which, I mean, even if we just break down what specifically is being claimed here, okay, like a dozen highly rated successful games, okay, 12 highly rated games. By his standard, I think those would have to be 80 plus, which if that's your standard, cool. Those are good games, even pretty good games, even great games. But usually people think of great, like highly rated games to be like 85 plus into the like A category. Like a B is a good grade, an A is a very good grade. An A is what you're going for. But like, let's give him the 12 highly rated games. Let's say, sure. Successful games. It's really, honestly, this is not like trying to be pedantic. It's just honestly hard to gauge what successful means when your game is on Game Pass. It just is. Like, we don't get to see straight player numbers. It's not clear how many new signups come for that game. It's really, really tricky to figure out, but you know, maybe they are successful. Great financial reports. This is one where I feel like people just say shit. You know? They just say stuff. And they don't really think about it. If you try to find Xbox financial reports, what are you going to find? You are going to be searching for Microsoft annual reports where they might mention some details about their Xbox business, right? This is, by the way, this is Xbox's annual financial report. Okay, like a $2 trillion company, it's kind of a bit of an elaborate thing. But you look at the details surrounding Xbox, like in here, it's in Satya's initial statement. With Xbox Game Pass, we're transforming how people discover. It's just like describing their overall description. Xbox Series X and X are their fastest selling consoles ever. We'll get to that more in a minute. They describe Game Pass future opportunities, using Windows Cloud business, grow share of the PC market, drive engagement. Okay, all what you would kind of expect. From Surface to Xbox, we're doing stuff. More personal computing, gaming, describing this. There are no stats here. There's nothing we know. Like, they just say we continue to invest in gaming studios. Okay. Xbox Cloud Gaming utilizes Microsoft's Azure cloud technology. Okay, cool. But you can see, like, there's not a lot of details until you get down into the nitty gritty of revenue within personal computing, which is how they categorize it. And this is just what happens when you have one big business that's owned by another huge business. It all kind of gets lumped together. So to just like blindly assert that they have great financial reports, yeah, Microsoft has, but that's because Microsoft is freaking Microsoft. It's kind of easy to just throw out, yeah, they post great earning reports. It's the same thing like if you were saying, hey, PlayStation's doing well because Sony is posting good results, which isn't actually the case. Sony has been struggling recently as a total company, but like their camera markets and TV markets and all of that stuff is struggling a little bit. But it wouldn't be fair for me to be like, see, PlayStation's dying because PlayStation or Sony as a company had a bad quarter or something. It's just, they're not really related. It's a subset of the business. You know, the point is it's more complicated than that. So yeah, Xbox could be turning a profit right now. It might be losing money. It might be more complicated than that. And honestly, in some cases with big giga corporations like this, and this is something I never hear people talk about, there's such a thing as like tax deferrals. There's tax carry forwards. Like if we look at tax or operating loss carry forwards, a net operating loss, NOL, occurs when a company's allowable deductions exceed its taxable income within a tax period. The NOL can generally be used to offset a company's tax payments in other tax periods through IRS tax provisions called loss carry forwards, which basically means that if a company loses like $100 billion on investments they're making into, say, Game Pass right now in 2023, if all of the other expenses that are allowable offset their taxable income, then they don't pay taxable income because they technically lost more money than they made. But then you can carry forward, say you still had $80 billion or whatever, like 80 million even. If you just had billions of dollars left over that didn't go towards that meeting the zero mark, next year, usually, I think when I went to school, it was 7 years. You could pull back from 7 years and carry them forward, I think 3. But it might have changed because right as I left college, Trump passed the new tax bill, so it's probably different now. But at the very least, like you can carry forward a lot of those, and you can offset your income. So sometimes it's actually part of the strategy to have a company that is kind of a loss leader. You know, it's struggling to make a profit now, but you're investing really heavily for the future. So yeah, maybe. Point is, financial reports are often a little trickier than they seem. Selling consoles faster than they have in previous generations. Yeah, but like when your last generation was bad and then this one's okay, that's not, like, I guess that's better, but it's not the standard you would hope for. Dozens of exciting games in the works. Yeah, many of which were supposed to launch like a year or two ago, and we haven't really heard anything from. It's just like, the point is, there are reasons people are frustrated with Xbox right now. Just coping like this and pretending as though everything's fine and everybody's just delusional and gaslighting everybody is not helpful. Like, it just isn't. There's reasons hardcore Xbox fans are disappointed. They are. And we shouldn't like pretend as though they're crazy for being disappointed. You know? Why can't I send super chats? I don't know. What's it saying? What's it doing? Because I have, yeah, on my end, it says super chats are enabled. That's weird. Anyway, what I want to tell you guys this. I went to something super nerdy on Wednesday night, okay? I'm gonna tell you about this, okay? I went to something super nerdy. Don't hate me. Some of you will know who this is and will think this is cool. Some of you are going to be like, what are you talking about, Luke? Can you just get to the video games already? I know, but part of the Luke Stevens live experience is that I'm going to share the cringe that is my personal interests as well as all the gaming stuff, okay? So yeah, it's important. Also, like Imperium said, don't forget to like the stream, folks. Luke is going to endure Fallout 76. Least we can do is throw him a few likes. Thank you, my friend. Yes, if you can hit the like button, it actually does legitimately help these live streams specifically because YouTube wants to know that people are enjoying the stream before they send it out to people in the recommended feed. So I would heavily recommend, and I would greatly appreciate if you hit the like button. So, growing up, I was obsessed with ancient Egypt. This is no mystery. I have a pyramid behind me. I've talked a lot about how I love Assassin's Creed Origins just because it's set in ancient Egypt. I love ancient Egypt. I've always been fascinated by it since I was like 5-6 years old. Okay, it's always been captivating to me. And I've always wanted to visit. I've always wanted to do that, but I've never had the opportunity. And I just, it's never happened. But one of the guys that made me really interested in Egypt was an archaeologist who did a ton of like Discovery Channel documentaries back in the day. He still does a ton. He just did a bunch with like Discovery Channel. He did a whole thing after that Netflix Cleopatra thing. And it's this guy, Zahi Hawass. He's like a real life Indiana Jones. He wears the hat. He is just like a hardcore real life explorer. And I've watched tons of his documentaries, tons of his stuff. Honestly, if you've watched any like serious documentary on ancient Egypt, you've probably seen him in it. He's been around forever and he is the guy. Okay. The guy. So I actually got to go to this event, an evening with Dr. Zahi Hawass. My dad actually found it and saw that he was coming to Denver like a long time ago, and like texted me and was like, hey, you should totally come and we should do this. And I was like, hell yeah, we should absolutely do this. So we all loaded up into the car. My little brother Tim, my little sister Rachel and her boyfriend, we all loaded into the car and we went to Denver and we got to see him. And honestly, it was very cool. It was very, very cool. I got a photo with him and he signed one of my books. Do I have the attaché down here? I think I do. He signed one of my books, but he misunderstood where the camera guy was because we had to hand our phone to the guy and then he had to like take the picture for us. And so there were multiple people holding up phones taking pictures. So he looked at the wrong guy right as we were taking the photo. He's looking like off over here, and then I'm looking at the right camera. Oops, what are you gonna do? There were like 1,000 people. But it is what it is, tubes. But one of the things, there were some very eccentric people there. Okay, as you can imagine, an event built around like ancient Egypt, there's a lot of very eccentric, rich old people that go. And the craziest that we saw was a very old lady who showed up wearing a like pharaoh's headdress and like gold tassels, covered head to toe in like this poncho looking thing that had ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and stuff on it, and big like the purple latex gloves and a big purple medical mask over the front. I'm not joking, and I wish I had transferred this before. This is this is the person. They snuck up. My dad snuck this photo. And you can see Dr. Hawass was kind of like, what have I gotten into? Because this person is just like, like, what even is this? I don't know. I can't even begin to explain what this is or what was going on here. Just really, really weird. So there were a lot of fun things like that. It was very fun. It was crazy. There were a lot of very weird people, and he told a lot of funny stories. I just saw this when we were looking through these photos. This picture here is Beyonce, and you see this story. He reveals details of his fight with Beyonce. He told us about this, and apparently what happened is Beyonce came to the Great Sphinx. He met with her out front, and they were going to do like a photo op and stuff. Not only was Beyonce dressed in what he considered to be a very offensive outfit, trying to like dress sort of like an ancient Egyptian, just weird. But also her bodyguards were like major pricks. Like he said they pushed around his staff and pushed his photographer that he brought. And so he kicked Beyonce out, which he got like cheers from the audience. And he's like, and so We had to kick Beyonce out. It was awesome. He actually kicked Beyonce out of the pyramid and Sphinx complex because she was being such a prick. But yeah, so anyway, I met him. He, like, going back to my early childhood, has been my, like, I don't know, it was like a childhood idol. I've always been fascinated by ancient Egypt, and to see all of this stuff and to see him in person, and he's describing some of the discoveries they're making, was just amazing. Apparently this very speech he gave for us, he gave in Los Angeles like a week ago, and protesters stormed the stage and shut the event down because he had given an interview earlier that day describing how the Netflix documentary put on by Jada Pinkett Smith was deceptive because Cleopatra was objectively, provably, demonstrably not black. She was like Mediterranean. She was Greek. Like, that's the whole point of the Ptolemaic period. Like, that it just is what it is. There's no question. It's not a scandal. She wasn't black. It's a matter of fact. She just was not black. And he came out and said this, and everybody like lost their minds because that Netflix special was just like a whole thing. Yeah, Beyonce banned from pyramids by Egypt's Indiana Jones after her stupid and rude behavior. Oh man, what a giga chat. Yeah, she kept doing this thing, like she kept posing in really awkward ways in the pyramids and things for photos. Everybody's like, bro, like these are like grave sites. Can you not? Like, little respect, maybe, like just a little. I don't know, but I've always wanted to go, and it's rewind time. I've always wanted to go to Egypt, and one day I will. This company that put on this event that we went to seems really cool. I mean, you can see like this is the posters for it, but it seemed really cool. It was sponsored by this like travel company where you go to Egypt and they give private tours. It's the same company that does all the tours, like when a celebrity wants to go, like Beyonce, which is why he had pictures with her. I'm guessing he's a co-owner of the company, I would assume. But he, it's like $13,000. Like $13,000 to go on a 2-week thing. Plus flights. And I'm just like, so if Nikki and I wanted to go, it's probably like all told, probably $40,000 to go and spend 2 weeks going and touring all these places in an amazing way, to be fair. But that's a down payment for a house, you know? No, man, that's the white people price. Globine, I agree. It's extremely inflated. But the perk of that is, for one, they give you private access. So you get to go with the head of the Supreme Council of Antiquities in Egypt. So they bring you out at 6 a.m. to the pyramids before it's open to the public. So there's no other tourists at the site. They privately escort you through the pyramids. They bring you to the Sphinx. You actually can stand between the paws of the Sphinx, and again, it's open. Normally people don't get to go down there, but for this event, because I'm sure it's super corrupt, let's be real, but because it's co-owned by somebody like Zahi Hawass, and I'm sure some other government officials, they can grease the palms and get you down to areas that other people can't get down to. And so it's very interesting. But like, if we ever do Egypt, yeah, one day maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do something like that and go get the VIP experience instead of getting hassled and berated by scammers that try to take advantage of tourists on the way. But I'm just gonna have to keep waiting, because while like YouTube is doing well, I get to do this as a full-time job. I don't have $40,000 to blow on a trip to the pyramids. I'm sorry, like I don't. Yeah, they'll charge you $200 for a camel ride. Yeah, and they'll like get you on the camel, and they have deals with the police there. Because I watched that. There's a few TikToker travel guys who like go and travel to these places to show you how the scammers work. And they're like, yeah, and this guy has a deal with this police officer where if you don't pay him, they'll take you away. So you have to pay him the $200 because he shoved you onto the camel saying it was free. And then he says, nope, it's actually $200. And then you have to pay. Otherwise you go to jail. It's a whole thing. So I like the idea of the private tour, but it's going to be a while, a good long while. Cause it's just not practical. Dudes with the whistles. Yep, the whistles, that's a whole thing. So one day, but I'm like, I can't in good conscience spend that much. For one, I don't have $40,000, but two, even if I did, why would I spend $40,000 doing that when I could like try to invest that money and in 10, 20 years the pyramids will probably still be there. And that won't be that big of a deal for me, you know? It's the same reason, like, I would love to buy the Tesla. I've talked about this before. I would love to buy a Tesla. And I technically could buy a Tesla right now, but it's just not practical. Like, why would I spend $800 a month on a car payment when I could throw that $800 a month into, like, an investment account and try to grow it and just chill? You know? Like, it just... the way I thought it, I rephrased it in my mind. I was like, okay, if I actually need a second car, like if we need a second car, how often would I use like $1,000 clunker that I find and buy that's like super falling apart, whatever? I was like, what would that look like? And I was like, I don't think I'd actually drive around that much. I wouldn't really have any reason to go anywhere. And I was like, okay, so you don't need the car. You just want a new car. Like, just shut up, Luke. Dummy. Anyway, the whole event was super, super cool. It was like an hour and a half of really cool updates on discoveries and things. And it was very interesting. I brought this book written by him I've had for ages, and he signed it for me. Zahi Hawass, which was very nice. So yeah, that's Luke's story of meeting his childhood idol in a weird way. Very, very obscure, very random, I know. But hey man, apparently they're doing DNA tests on a bunch of mummies, and they're pretty sure that by the end of October, they should know. There will be like a bunch of announcements on confirmed reasons why King Tut died. They want to prove that he did not have a disease or anything. It was a fractured leg that grew infected. And then they also are doing DNA tests to try and locate the body of Nefertiti. However, they think what he said during his speech, he said, I personally believe it's this mummy. And he shows the slide. And he said, but this mummy, which I believe is the mummy of Queen Nefertiti, is in a very bad condition because the place where she was held was flooded and it severely damaged the mummy. And sure enough, like, it's pretty... Nefertiti's known for her beauty. And I mean, you've certainly seen the bust. And yeah, this Nefertiti's known for her beauty, but the mummy that they think is hers is rough. Most of it's missing. It's more of a skeleton than anything. So it's a little unfortunate, but that's just, it is what it is, tubes. Nathan, by the way, thank you for the $1.99. I liked it, but Redfall is just Far Cry 5 reskinned.
Luke Babooks,
yeah, but it doesn't even work.
$19.99.
Thank you, Luke. Jeez.
Been playing 76 occasionally for a while now. The draw of the game is that at this point it's essentially F4W Friends. I love camp and its character building, exploring, etc. The world, space and community is very pleasant.
Yeah, guys, calm down. Casper. Smash, mommy. Come on. Thank you, Luke, for the 20. Thank you, Nathan, for the 2, by the way. And Luke, I'm glad to hear that the community is good. When I posted a survey, and we'll talk about this more in just a little bit. But when I posted a survey asking people, Fallout 76 players, what they liked and what they didn't like about Fallout 76, what kept them coming back, overwhelmingly, the response was the community. The community. Speaking of Fallout 76, we have 76 likes, guys, and 250 people in here already, We can get that to 100 easy. Let's get to 100 likes and then I'll leave you alone for a little bit, okay? But yeah, anyway. Yeah, we'll try it though. I mean, we're going to see if we can play passively and not try to bring attention to ourselves, but we're just going to see if we can get like a taste of that community. That sounded weird. Just by playing it like a normal person. Because one of the things that happened when we were playing Star Citizen is that I was trying to like showcase how the game is. And because I was streaming it and we did videos on it, the video I did on it has almost 1 million views already. Like, it's insane. And so because of that, like, I did not get the normal experience of Star Citizen because I had people coming, helping me, showing me their ships, sending me money. Like, I did not have the normal experience in Star Citizen. And I'd like to change that for Fallout 76 and play it just like a normal average person, to try and avoid that problem of like, well, I had a really good time in the game because people sent me tons of in-game money and I had an easy time. You know, it's just not fair, I think, to break it down that way. Anders, I've played it off and on, like over the last 5 years. I pop back in every once in a while, but for this video, for this thing, I started, for one, because the Xbox launcher is a piece of crap and I couldn't get the game to launch through the Xbox launcher on PC. So I bought a copy on Steam and started a new save, and we're just gonna roll with it. So it's a whole thing. Let's see. Man, I gotta have you guys write my sponsorship scripts. That's what I gotta do. Haven't played Fallout 76 since launch. I'm interested to see how it's changed. The thing I've noticed is that they completely diverted the main story. So instead of being quested with like going and finding a bunch of holotapes from characters, they immediately divert you into talking with the NPCs they added in the Wastelanders update. So they've really tried to rework it where there's now NPCs. So they went back on that whole idea of there's no NPCs, only players. That whole concept they abandoned pretty quickly. It was a fun idea, but it just wasn't practical, I think. You what? It hurts really bad. Oh, you just nicked your toe. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. It bled a lot, and I was really. She said she ran over her foot with the door. What door?
Our bedroom door, the corner of the door.
Oh, like you swung it open and clipped it.
It went completely over it, and I was like. Ah!
Yeah, it doesn't look. It looks like just a little nick.
Yeah, I can't. Like.
Yeah, the angles aren't there to see the foot. Now, yo. Anyway. I didn't get the normal experience with Star Citizen, but do you know what I did get the full experience with? Raid Shadow Legends. I play it every day. Dude, that, man. Hey, Luke, do you know what's with all the hate for the new Netflix Cleopatra documentary? It's literally, because it's, for one, it's directed by Jada Pinkett Smith, and let's be real, everybody hates her. So that's one. And I will agree, people went into this docuseries, whatever the hell it is, expecting it probably to be not that great. But more than anything, people feel like it is just a political thing, because there is no question. You talk to any Egyptologist, including that guy I just looked at, Zahi Hawass, they will all tell you Cleopatra was of Macedonian, Mediterranean, and Greek descent, because it was during the Ptolemaic period. She's a descendant. Like, there is no question. They have the mummies of other family members of hers and have done DNA testing. Like, they know for a fact she was not black. But in this docu-series, whatever, on Netflix, the whole thing is built around casting pretty much all of the Egyptian royal family and everybody as with black actors. And it's like, people are saying, hey, you get upset with other revisionist history if you whitewash history or whatever, but then you're fine with it in this case. It's just very hypocritical. So as you can see, it's not been rated very highly, and people are just like, also it's fresh speculation. It's just kind of like a weird fever dream of like, I don't even know. It's basically nonsensical. It has zero historical value as a documentary, so it's just kind of a waste of time to watch, other than being like, yeah, slay. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just kind of wasteless or pointless. 3% damn. It was at 1% until several journals and like Mother Jones, kind of very, like, we don't get into politics, but just stating a fact, very left-leaning websites posted about it and tried to call their fans to go and rate it positively, and then it went up to 3%. So even with trying to rally support and get lots of people to go give it good ratings, they could only get it to 3%. Is it a documentary, not a show? They initially, my understanding is they initially marketed it as a docu-series, and now they're trying to rework it as a show because it's like a docudrama thing. Exactly, Steffi. So it's just, the whole thing is a mess. The whole thing is a mess. Gambit. I have not played any chess tournaments this year over the board. My brother Tim actually just went to the Wyoming Open maybe a month ago. He placed second in his tier. He had a good time with that. But I have not gone to any yet. I plan to go to at least one by the end of the year. It was one of my New Year's resolutions. So I will probably this fall, I would guess. I can't use Apple Pay to join. Google wants my credit card. Oh, Kratos, it might be because Apple's going to try to take like 30%. I don't know. The mobile membership thing is really, really messy. I don't know. It's just all the like App Store trying to take 30%. Everybody gets super weird about it. I placed second in the Alabama State Scholastic, beat a 2100. Nice, Gambit. That's awesome. Cheers. Dilly dilly. My goodness. I bet that 2100 was... This was supposed to be my year. This was my tournament to take. Mine. Let's see. Have you noticed that they never actually create black characters? They do want to swap it. Like, for example, in the Star Wars sequel, they created a new protagonist. Why didn't they make her black? I don't know. I don't know, Arno. The whole thing is just weird. I'm like, I literally don't care. Like, whatever the character looks like, however they're written, whatever. I don't care. Just write them well. It's the same reason, like, people tried to say I was being unfair to Aloy because I said Aloy was written like some sort of uncharismatic rock who just doesn't have any sort of nuance or emotion, like so much so that in the sequel they bring a clone of Aloy in to have human emotions so that Aloy can come along and be like, stop feeling that way, be strong like me. And the only time she ever has any emotions, it lasts for maybe a scene and then it's gone. And it's just asinine. It's so frustrating. And I'm like, there are very well-written female characters in video games. I don't think Aloy is one of them. I don't think pretending as though somebody doesn't have human emotions to be strong and powerful is quality writing. I just don't think that is. I watched The Whale yesterday, by the way. I watched The Whale finally. You know the movie Brendan Fraser made his big comeback with. And it's written by the one and only illustrious, magnificent Sam Hunter. And it's just a phenomenally well-written script. Originally a play, but just very, very well done. But it's tough to watch. It really is tough to watch. But I will be real. It'll mess with you. It'll mess with you. But those are characters that are multi-dimensional. They have multiple facets to them. It's highly nuanced. It's just fascinating. And once you've tasted the magic of really high quality writing, everything else is just like, wait, what even is this? This is garbage, you know? It's just, everything feels so plastic. It's like going from watching a Shakespeare play and then going home and watching Blue's Clues. It's just like, okay. Like it's not even the same dimension. It's 2-dimensional versus 3-dimensional. It's just totally different. Totally different. Still lay awake at night thinking about how wrong they did Finn in the sequels. They did everybody wrong in those sequels. I had put off seeing the last Star Wars movie until pretty recently. And when I saw it finally, the part like where they come out swinging, where Rey comes out and is like, I'm whatever the line is, I'm all the Jedi or something like that. I burst out laughing. I was like, no way. This is the pinnacle of the whole trilogy. This is the moment where the trilogy is supposed to click into place. Everything makes sense. We root for it. Like, this is the moment. And that's what they came up with. It was unbelievable. Like, I get they had different writers, directors, whatever. They swapped it around. I understand that. But it's like, it still sucks. It's just like in you guys remember like late 2000s, there was that writer's strike that happened. And so a lot of like really well-known TV shows lost their writing staff. And as a result, new writers came in and tried to pick up the pieces that were left on the ground and figure out what they could do with it to make a decent story or conclusion. It famously happened to Lost, apparently. You guys remember Lost, the TV show? With that,
Season 1 of Lost begins.
With this show, they had so many cool plot lines and plot twists and multiple layers of different things going on that they could do. It was really, really fascinating. And then they had that writer's strike. All the original writers left, and they took all of their plans for the finale and what they were going to do with them. And the writers that replaced them had no idea how to tie this stuff together. And so all of a sudden the show from like season 3, really captivating. Season 4, total garbage. Like immediately everything flops. None of it makes sense. It just, it got hosed. The whole thing just fell apart out of nowhere. And it just goes to show you, like when you have writers that swap in and out, it's hard. You can't really fake it. Like you just run into problems because they take their ideas with them. And Lost is just the perfect example of that. But I don't know what this, like, I think something similar happened with Star Wars, the newer Star Wars movies. There's other problems that have been with like the Marvel movies where they like fired, what's his name? James Gunn for a while. Then they brought him back and then he tried to dig them out of the hole they had made. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens with the current writer's strike, because there's a whole writer's strike going on and rocking in Hollywood right now. I don't really understand a lot of their demands. Some of it's just like, hey, we want pay raises. Cool. I agree. You should get pay raises. That's understandable. But a lot of them like want to ban all AI writing for the next like 50 years in all TV shows and films. I saw one lady that was marching next to like Rob Lowe. And she was saying, yeah, we want to just make sure that AI models cannot participate in the writing process of films or television for the next 50 years. And I was like, I mean, I think your job is protected. Yeah, Rob Lowe is out marching with them. Yeah. I think right now, if you try to have ChatGPT write you a play, it's going to be garbage. It just will be. It can kind of mimic human writing, but especially when it gets to like emotional themes and stuff, it's not at the point where it can get anywhere close. So I think you're okay. But honestly, if we get to the point where AI is able to write stories that describe the human experience in a way that we can only fathom right now, like, I understand that threatens the job of writers, but it's also like, I mean, it literally is progress. I understand it's uncomfortable, but It's the same thing people said like when we were describing cell phones or computers. Well, wait, so you're going to get rid of the need for typists? Yeah. Wait, so you're going to get rid of the need for the US Post by having, or like telegrams, by having email and by having phone calls and text messages and things? Yeah. We're going to get rid of the need for all that. Yes, it's going to lead to like job losses. Yes, but it's progress that moves us forward. And we always figure it out. Humans are pretty resourceful. We'll figure it out. It's uncomfortable. Yes. But sometimes there's growing pains. It's my hot take of the day. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a hot take. I know a lot of people are like really worried about automation. I understand that, but my perspective is that progress, it's dangerous to just halt progress, especially when other people are still going to continue it. If you halt AI development in the US, guess who's not going to halt it? China and Russia and all these like they aren't going to give a crap, and then they're going to end up way ahead of us, and then you'll really be screwed. So like in my view, it's just, you know, you can either complain about the train that's going really quickly into the distance, or you can hop on and not get left behind. Yeah, so China did approve the Microsoft merger. Chinese regulators, they weren't really in question. We assumed they would. One of the most interesting things I saw, though, actually, I wonder if I can find this clip. Satya Nadella on the ATVI merger. Let me see. Show transcript. I think he said it was something. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah, let's wait for it to play out. Right here. Look at this. Okay, this was fascinating to me. Okay, listen to his response.
Let's wait for it all to play out. The sovereignty of the United Kingdom and the CMA to decide panel law
and the UK.
Okay, here it is.
Look, I mean, the fundamental logic of this deal, bringing more competition and more opportunity for publishers and gamers, still holds. So as far as I'm concerned, we keep going. We wait for what the European Union decides. We have a process. We obviously respect the sovereignty of the United Kingdom and the CMA to decide what's
wait
good,
for it.
in that
Could you
country.
ever see an age where you would sell the product in the US if it was approved, sell the products in Europe, and not sell it in the UK if they didn't approve it?
Would you ever consider selling your products everywhere else but the UK if they don't approve the merger? Basically, okay, the UK is not into the deal. Do you just say, screw it, we're going through with it, and we just won't sell stuff in the UK?
If it was approved, sell the products in Europe and not sell it in the UK if they didn't approve it?
Let's wait for it all to play out.
Were you surprised by this
Very
decision
much
in the
so.
UK?
Very much so. Very much. Because in some sense, this is the most pro-competitive thing I've ever seen. And then most people will say that this is,
right.
And in an interesting way, it is using, in some sense, a large company's ability to persist and go introduce more competition.
Let's wait and see how it all plays out. Not a no. And so to be clear, there are analysts who have seen this clip who think that this is just him sort of making a veiled threat to the British regulators to be like, you're going to fix this? Otherwise we might. And if Microsoft is willing to start ignoring the UK in some facets of the business, then a lot of other companies would be more willing. And the UK already is hemorrhaging foreign investment. Like, people are bailing on the country pretty heavily. What I don't know, and I will not pretend to know this, I don't know if there are regulations in the UK to punish Microsoft and like Windows, their business there, versus just the Activision stuff. Like, if the Activision acquisition goes through, do they mean they just don't sell Activision products there? Or do they mean Microsoft can't operate in the UK? I don't know. I would think they could probably try to punish Microsoft by not allowing Microsoft to operate in the UK, which doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't. Like, imagine Microsoft just like, yeah, nope. You can't sell Windows devices in the UK anymore. Like, that would be bizarre, frankly, and it would be really ironic because all of a sudden competition would take a bit of a nosedive. But it would be very, very funny. Yeah, if Microsoft left the UK, I think that would hurt probably the UK. I mean, honestly, if Microsoft left any country, it would severely hurt that country because pretty much all major computer systems for most companies are operating on Windows. Even like a lot of, like, I remember it leaked, people saw a picture of Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. He was at a press event and he was like shaking somebody's hand, and his Apple Watch was in the frame, and people saw it had a Microsoft Outlook notification. So even Apple is using Outlook, Microsoft product, for their email services, which I understand because the Mail app on Apple devices sucks ass. I don't care what anybody says. It's horrible. So, yeah, it's fascinating. I would really be shocked if they pulled out of the UK. I think that would be a bizarre move, but he, very intentional. Let's see how it plays out. Let's just see how it plays out. So the people in the UK, the regulators and people, start to sweat a little and think maybe we should reevaluate, especially because the UK's refutation to the deal, by all accounts, was very weird. Very weird. This guy runs a $2 trillion company. This guy has more control over the economy and the state of world economics than probably anybody you know the name of. Okay? This guy is a mover and shaker and is a freaking giga genius. Okay? He just is. So he knows what he's doing. And when he says, like, yeah, this is the real Lex Luthor right here. And so for him to leave the door open, I just found very interesting. Very, very interesting. So we'll see, but I don't know what will happen. I don't know why. My gut, I know it's only like a 35% chance the deal goes through at this point. Okay. In its current form, to be clear, they can still like rework things, only acquire part of it. They can shift things around, but there's something in my gut that just says this guy's got a couple aces up his sleeve and they're going to find a way to make it happen. You don't walk out and offer to spend $69 billion buying a company and then just like casually shrug it off like, oh well. The grin says it all. Yeah, I think it does. I think he's got some stuff going on in the background. Yeah, Illuminati. No, it's Nadeliati. Oh man. Let's see. Yeah, he works for a gig corp. There's one exclusive game that's good on Xbox. What? You're baiting me. I can tell already. You're baiting me. I'm not biting. Why are the CEOs of most huge companies Indian? I don't know why. I have no idea. I think a lot when I was in college, the classes for like IT and like emergent technologies with like AI and stuff like that, all of those classes and everything about them were dominated by Indian professors and Indian students. It's just for whatever reason, that's where most of the Indian students, people of Indian heritage, tended to go into studying. Whereas like the marketing department filled with white women, swarming. Or finance was sort of like half white dudes and maybe half Chinese exchange students. So I don't know, like for whatever reason, it's just, that's where those demographics tend to go. I don't know, but it's a good industry to get into. I'll tell you what, if you get into IT or into software engineering or stuff like that, that's where you want to be. Tons of money there. Do I play fighting games at all? Did you see Mortal Kombat fan at all? Yeah, I will play them occasionally. I don't play them like actively. I might put like 20, 30, 40 hours in when they first launch, but then I usually only touch them like when we have parties or have people over. But I like them. I was gonna watch the trailer live on stream and I was like, wait, but it's Mortal Kombat. I should probably check first. And I'm glad we didn't try to watch it on stream because it's gooey. Okay, the trailer for the new one is quite moist. So I think playing it safe there is probably a good idea. Because already YouTube is demonetizing videos if they have any gore in them. Any. Like the shirt? I like the shirt too, my friend. Proud skeptic. That's what I am. That's what you should be too. And if you want one, LukeStevensTV.com. Plus, when you buy one, I'll send you a private little thank you video. Because I can do that now. It's like Cameo. I can send you a little thank you video. So yeah, definitely check it out. Check it out. Is there a reason why governments don't use self-made software instead of Microsoft? Because using mega corporations make you super dependent on the corporation? No. It depends. So when I worked at a voter service polling center, which is like the centers where you go to vote in an election. I worked there right out of high school, and then I think senior year of high school, I volunteered at one as well. And they, it's only for election season. You work there for like a week or two during the voting season, but they used proprietary tech. So they used government software for like that election stuff at the time. And, but like they still used Windows PCs for their day-to-day stuff. So I think it's just segmented. Like some of their services and some of what they do, they can operate fine on Windows computers. So yeah, just use Windows computers. And then for other things that they do, like those high up Pentagon guys, I'm sure they're using their own software. Or if they're using Windows PCs in the Pentagon, they are probably using a very special kitted out version for high security stuff. But how many ballots went into box 3, Luke? It is one of the things that like immediately made me not buy into all of the conspiracy theories of just like, oh, they definitely stole all these ballots out of Colorado. And that's how I think it was Ted Cruz who won or something. There was like the whole discussion of how Ted Cruz cheated to win or something. And I worked at the polling center during that election. And I was like, no, you realize we all have to like, when you work at the polling center, we all wear badges that are color coded to our registered party. So if you're an independent, it's gold. If you're Republican, it's red. If you're Democrat, it's blue. And they check your voting history because they can do that. And they see if it's consistent. So it's not like you're a Democrat registering as a Republican so that you can scam it somehow. Like they check all of this. And you have to have a member of each other opposing party with you whenever you touch the ballots. If somebody came up to my table, said, hey, I'm here to vote, this is my address, and here's my ID, I look at it, get it, okay, I need the ballot for this district. So I get up. I had to have two people of different party affiliation. So I had the independent tag. I had to have a Democrat and a registered Republican with me. We go over to the board of ballots, remove it, we all witness it, and then they all have to witness me giving it to that one person. Like, the idea that there was just this grand scheme of like, yeah, I'll fill out 15 of these ballots and toss them all in and see what happens. It was nonsense. It was asinine. And it just goes to show you, like, the people that actually knew what they were talking about that worked in those polling centers were all saying, no, that's not how this works. Like, you couldn't do that. It was built so you couldn't do that. And it was just insane. But people are like, well, I saw a TikTok video of somebody saying that they saw somebody do that, and I would rather take their word for it. It's just like, shut up, dude. Shut up. How am I doing? I'm doing good. I'm riled up. I'm ready to play Fallout 76. I'm revving up. I want to run through a couple more of these little things because there's some more news topics to run through, but we'll get to that in due time, I'm sure. The problem is the mail ballots, those were processed in the same way. The same people I was trained with. One of the guys actually went to the mail ballot processing center. So I was also trained on the mail-in ballots because we didn't know what our assignments were going to be until like the day before, basically. So I like how it works is basically the same exact thing. You have direct supervision from members of all different parties in the same space because they want to make sure like Democrats can't do anything, Republicans can't do anything, independents can't. You can't shred ballots. And every single example that was brought up was disproven. Like not a single one of those court cases that Rudy Giuliani or any of those guys made it past the initial accusation. And when you're at that point where you're just tossing out like, I think this happened. What's your evidence? Somebody told me about it. That's called hearsay, and that's why it's nonsense. That's why you can't build any sort of understanding of reality on that. Otherwise, you'll believe every single conspiracy theory out there. Anyway, let's shift. Linus, big update with Linus. Big update with Linus happening. Let's see. Oh yeah, if people want to leave a review on the new up-and-coming gaming podcast Free Roam, where should they go to do that? That's a very, very aptly asked question, my friend. That's a wonderful, wonderful question. If you guys have not seen our new podcast website, boop, 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 boop. The podcast I'm doing with the one and only Joe Raptor right now is available on all major podcasting sites. The link in chat will take you to our parent page where you can go and select wherever your platform is, just like you see here. So if you listen on Apple Podcasts, you just click on that. It'll take you to our site on Apple Podcasts. Boom, there you go. And if you can leave a review, that's wonderful. It'll help new people discover the show. And plus, once you follow us on any of these platforms that you listen to, Spotify, whatever, it will actually you'll get notified whenever there's a new episode that drops, which is super, super cool. It's available audio form. Oh, I'm not, the screen died. Okay, that's wonderful. I don't know why. Why is it dying? It thinks I'm watching copyrighted content now. Like I pulled up my own website and now it's like, it's like time stop. Okay. Hold on. I guess I swap inputs maybe. That's new. That's new. Hold on. Deactivate, reactivate. Okay. I don't think we've had this. Is this a new YouTube thing? Did they just start doing HTTP content? You wouldn't download a car, would you? Does it work if I pull up a different page? Activate. No. Huh. I don't think we've ever had this before. Weird. Yeah, Linus doesn't want you reacting to his video. I guess, dude. Software and driver. That's very, very weird. I'm a little baffled. It was working earlier because we were pulling up stuff. So something about like pulling up Apple's website or something glitched it out. I don't understand. Capture 8D HTTP. I'm so confused. Well, That's new. Is that a new YouTube thing? Is that what they did? Because it seemed like it pulled up when I tabbed over to the YouTube tab. That would be crazy if they just introduced a system to get rid of HTTP content. Huh. Is there some setting I have turned on in Windows, like NVIDIA control panel? Big brother. Yeah, dude. No, I'm not using a VPN right now. HDCP. I'm legitimately baffled. I don't really know what to do with that. I would show you my screen, but it's it's doing this. If you use an iPhone, iPad inputs, go to settings and RE Central, turn HDCP off. How do I do that? Sorry, isn't this so fun, guys? Isn't this wonderful? It's funny because I was just like saying the other day, I was like, yeah, we've actually had a good stroke of luck recently where stuff has just kind of worked. We haven't had a lot of problems. For the following solutions. Huh. Well, are you using an HDMI splitter? No. It is going straight in. So maybe that's why it's rearing its head now, whereas before it was in this. It's because you have Fallout 76 installed. You know what? Probably. What I'll do is I will plug. Yeah, I will plug the HDMI cable from that PC into the splitter or the switcher. We'll see if that does it. I think that's our play, okay? Now this is how you know we're live. Exactly. I'm going under, boys. Hold on. Okay. Plugging this in. Okay, I'm back. Share stream's the favorite stream. You're damn right. Okay. We'll plug that in. Okay, that seems to have fixed something. And then Avermedia. Voila. Okay, I think it's working. Jesus. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Okay, let's see if it worked. Let's see what's happening with Linus. It's not actually as scandalous as it looks. I'm stepping down. It's not actually that big of a deal, as far as I can tell.
Successful companies eventually outgrow the leadership of their founders, and it looks like my time is now. Effective July 1st, 2023, after 10 wild and very eventful years, I will be stepping down as CEO of Linus Media Group, Creator Warehouse, and Floatplane Media. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and I'm going to try to answer them all here, like why now, what's going to happen to the channels in the lab, and if not you, who's going to be around to tell us about our sponsor? The Ridge! Father's Day is coming. When we had only 4 employees, thinking, this feels ridiculous, and I've never really outgrown that. I'm a lot of things. I'm a bottomless pit of creative energy, an excellent motivator and speaker. I'm wicked smart, charming, really funny, But in addition to those strengths, both real and imagined, I have a lot of weaknesses, and chief among them is that I've just never really had the attention to detail or the temperament that it takes to run an organization this large. I touched on some of this during my infamous 10 million subscriber stream, but
Oh yeah, when he wanted to quit. I'll be real though, I totally sympathize with what he's saying though. I want to be real with this for a minute. I like have a degree in finance. I know the financial inner workings of companies and stuff like that. But running an actual business is a whole other thing. There's so much to do. There's so much busy work. There's meetings. There's all sorts of stuff. Like even just like the process of me hiring a team of CPAs to do all of the bookkeeping for this, which is basically me and Jacob, and then occasionally other contractors who work on stuff with us. Maybe occasional like payments to independent contractors, like, you know, different people who help us in various ways. But we do not have a crazy big operation. We don't have 4 employees. We don't have, you know, much less the 80 that they have now. And so like, I can only imagine how much work goes into doing what he does in the day-to-day goings on of this business. It's got to be insane. And so I totally sympathize with him when he's like, listen, this is not really what I'm into. I don't love running the business. I like making the videos on tech and stuff. That's what I like. I totally understand that. And frankly, having somebody who just handles the business side is going to be amazing for the business, because now all of his energy can go into the creative side of things. So I think it's about time. It's about time.
the truth is, while I did manage to wrap that up with a positive message about finding motivation to move forward, none of those feelings I talked about ever went away. I wasn't built for this, and I'm tired. Like, really can't do this anymore, tired. And if I try to drag myself through another 10 years of business administration, I know I'm gonna destroy myself and probably end up killing the company and the community that I love so much in the process. I'm at my best when I'm pitching new content or product ideas, or when I'm problem-solving ways to wipe garbage sites like User Benchmark out once and for all. And I have some good news. None of that stuff is gonna be going away. My new role is gonna be Chief Vision Officer, which is a stupid, like, BS-sounding made-up role, but I think it really is the best one. We thought about Creative Officer, but that didn't really encompass what I'm gonna be responsible for, because my gut and principles are what got us to where we are today, so I'm still gonna be charting the path that I think makes sense. We don't wanna lose our moral compass. But when it comes to the details of how to best utilize our resources to get there, I need some help. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions right now, like who our second sponsor is. I'm just kidding.
Jesus, can you imagine? They're like, like, this video is gonna do well. We'll just cram it full. Why not? I love how his moderation not includes his operation of his. Well, Hero Brian, you are. The problem is right now there's no. And I had a meeting with Discord, like the Discord people, about this actually, because I was like, I would love to have a way for us to directly like pay out mods on Discord and on like stream through all that. And they were like, we've actually been working on a tool where moderators from around the world that help you manage your community will be able to sign in to like put in their financial information, and then you can send out basically like a payment to the mods, and then Discord will handle the distribution and the conversion rates and the deposits and all of that. Super, super cool. Super cool. And they said that they also were working on a tool that would allow you to basically see like which mods were like the most active. And so the mods who are sending 1,000 messages and are super active in, say, Discord or whatever, they get a larger chunk of the mod fund or whatever. So there are things we're working on, but we also, like, no joke, I think this stream channel in terms of revenue over the last like 2-3 months is probably at about 50 to 60%. Sounds abusable? Yeah, that's why you don't have to use that system. You can just split it evenly, or you can set your own weights, like, oh, these are head mods, so they get a bigger cut, whatever. Like, there's ways to do it. Or like somebody can send a command in chat and they can pitch in like $20 to the mods, and the mods get that, you know, go straight to them, which is super cool. But yeah, I mean, the live channel still, this whole operation we're doing here with all the live clips and everything, we're still operating at a loss. So this is a labor of love. We're losing money. If I was trying to like just focus on revenues and profitability, it would just probably be the main channel, honestly. But I like streaming. I like doing this, so we do this. But it definitely loses money for real.
Get to that later. First, I want to talk about what isn't... Did I really write that? Sorry. First, I want to talk about what isn't going to change. And the biggest one is the rest of our leadership team. Yvonne and I spent the last 6 months working with them on my replacement, which included having him work for us on a contract basis to ensure that they feel he is A, a competent manager, and B, the kind of person who can comfortably integrate into our team. They are going to be continuing to work alongside him to ensure that this transition goes as smoothly as possible. The next thing that isn't going to change is me. I am not going away. You can expect to see me on camera just as much as you used to. I mean, ideally, maybe more, since if all goes according to plan, I'm going to be left to do what I do best, which is engage with our community, that's you, and create. Speaking of which, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session about this with the community in the next week or so. Make sure you're signed up at floatplane.com/LTT so you don't miss it. Also not changing, our ownership structure. Yvonne and I are still the sole shareholders and directors of the company. So there hasn't been some kind of corporate buyout that's going to force us to sell our souls to cover their purchase investment.
I greatly appreciate that. My concern with all this, like I've heard horror stories, I'm sure you have too, of people who like brought in managers who kind of stole the company from them. And it's always horrifying. Like it's terrifying. The idea that you bring in like a new CEO to run your business for you and you focus on the stuff you're good at. And then in the process, they run it into the ground or they technically like steal it away from you by issuing shares or something. It's good to hear that he will be retaining control in that way. That's what I wanted to hear. So they're not doing anything silly like that. We like you streaming, so keep streaming. We don't need payment. We just need Luke Stevens content. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Imperial. And yeah, I'm like I said, I enjoy this. This is a labor of love. Like I said, if we were just trying to pump out what made money, we would just do the main channel and, you know, just rock and roll on that. I would spend a hell of a lot less time in the studio and, you know, because we spend a lot of time down here, but I enjoy the streaming stuff. And maybe one day it will be profitable, but as of right now, it is not. I think we made profit 1 month in March, but it's because we had like so many super chats that month for whatever. I think it was maybe Hogwarts Legacy stuff. I don't know what it was, but I guess that was February. So the payment came in March. So I guess it was February was the month that was profitable. I think it was Hogwarts Legacy because we had just tons of super chats and membership gifting and stuff. It was a ridiculous month, you know, very, very bizarre. But yeah, it just goes to show you. I mean, there can be ups and downs, you know, for real.
We did have a substantial offer recently to sell out, and I might as well speak plainly. The offer was $100 million, 60% cash, 40% shares in the acquiring company. Basically, it was enough to live in a beachfront hotel for the rest of our lives, for our kids to do that, and for our kids' kids to do the same. We decided not to take it, and there
$100 million. Wow. 60% cash, 40% equity. If it was like, I'm trying to think who would buy a company like that. Maybe like, I don't even know. But $60 million cash and then another 40 million in investments, in stock. Like, bro's a clown for not taking it. I mean, for one, his life for like 20 years has been YouTube, has been social media, has been pumping out these tech videos and stuff. This has been his day in, day out. And to quit cold turkey would be very, very difficult because maybe honestly there might be deals. I don't know what the deal constituted. I would imagine if they were offering $100 million for Linus Tech Tips, there was probably an agreement where he would have to stay in the videos and stay doing what he's doing for like 5 years or 10 years or something. So there was probably an agreement like that. And I can understand then if you think of it that way, it wouldn't just be like, yeah, we'll pay you $100 million and you can just leave, because he's part of the reason that they would want it. And then you think about that, like, oh, we're going to buy your company out. You're going to have all this money, but you'll no longer have any control. If we tell you you're going to do 15 ad reads in the same video, you're going to do it. You know, like, that's crazy. They'll buy it for the subs and rebranding. I don't think they would rebrand it. I think that they would buy it. They'd want him to stay on, and they lock him in for like 10 years, and he just has to ride it out. So I think that makes sense. But, man, $100 million. Because that is enough money if he did that for 5-10 years and then he gets out, leaving, you know, after a while. Within, like, you know, a conservative amount of investment, that can get to the point. He could easily be a billionaire by the time he's 60, 70 years old. Easily. Like, it's ridiculous. But Linus keeping the company leaves something for his kids to do in the future rather than just leaving them the money. It's always risky, I think, to leave your kids a business. Because, yeah, you leave them money, they're going to squander it. Leaving them the business, I think they're just as likely to squander it, if not more, because they have to know how to operate the business and do that. I don't know. I know some people. Thank you, Matt, by the way, for becoming a member. Thank you, Matt. Welcome. I know some people who own like a family business, and there's a lot of debate and questions about what they should do with the next generation, because the saying is always the first generation makes the money, the second generation preserves and grows the money, and then the third generation squanders the money. And once you're on that third generation, you can see it. Like, the third generation is super frivolous with the money. They don't really handle it carefully. They don't have a real appreciation for it. You can tell. Linus's kids would probably do great with it, but it's going to be interesting to see what he does in terms of an exit plan. It's good to see he's not burnt out on making the videos. He's just burnt out on the business side of it.
For a few reasons.
What's up, Tanner?
First is that, honestly speaking, it wouldn't really change our lifestyle much. I mean, what are we going to do? Buy an even bigger house? An even faster car? I mean, that's never really been us anyway. Second is because we love this company and the people in it. And I just don't think our mission's complete yet. I'm not sure that it will ever be. My point is just that our attitude towards money, so make lots of it and keep reinvesting and building this thing to do even better, it's not going to change, and you're not going to see the kind of short-term thinking that comes from investor pressure. Our long-term thinking is just going to come from this guy instead. On that note, then, let's talk about what does change. And this is actually mostly for the benefit of my team who's watching this, but you guys might as well be in on it. The biggest change is in reporting. No one will report directly into me anymore. If there's an issue with salary transparency, or the snacks in the lunchroom, or the warranty on the backpack, or whatever, I promise you, I give you my personal guarantee, trust me, bro, whatever it is, there is somebody else who's in charge of that, and that is by design. Yvonne and I have laid out a clear set of guidelines for how we want this company handled. With integrity and compassion, people first. We want to make strong investments in building something that's going to continue to offer growth opportunities to everyone who's part of our team. Beyond that, though, the buck stops with the new CEO. I'm not going to be stepping in to undermine him. And this is a big shift that's going to mean we're all going to need to break some really old habits. With that out of the way, then.
Dude, that's got to be so refreshing, though. Like, just imagine for years you've been the point of contact for all of that crap. And now, in the span of like a day, you just don't have to worry about it. Man, it would be very interesting. Very, very interesting. But, X and Y, thank you. Welcome. Glad to have you. It's going to be very interesting. That's going to be one hell of an adjustment, for real.
Who the hell is this guy, right? The keen-eyed among you might have noticed that the picture I showed you is actually from the roast a few years back, so this isn't your first exposure to Mr. Taron Tong. He was my boss when I worked at NCIX, which makes him kind of uniquely qualified for this position because managing me is a challenging task. I'm
Interesting.
Everywhere.
He hired his old boss. What a baller move, dude. That's gotta feel great. Wow. Hiring your own old boss. Oh man, I would not stop grinning for years if I did that.
Even the most skilled of administrators have struggled with it, and he's one of the only people to ever successfully do that and teach me. He, and I mean, if I'm being honest, really, one of our other colleagues, begrudging shout out to Jack, the two of them taught me most of what I know about business, both what to do and what not to do.
But didn't NCIX like implode? am I crazy? I thought it imploded. It's like no longer a thing. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was that Jack guy that he just kind of tossed out. But honestly, like of anybody to bring in, I guess it makes sense bringing somebody you know. And he knows how he runs the business, so he knows how he's going to treat people and what. Like, okay.
Shout out Jack. In the years since his departure from NCIX, Taryn has done stints at Corsair and Dell, both of which have been successful enough that they've thwarted all of my previous attempts to hire him. Seriously, since pretty much day one, I've been looking for an excuse for us to work together again, and every single time I would talk to him, he was worth so much more than the last time that I'd go, damn, I guess we're not really ready for this yet. But now that the deal is inked, I'm really excited. I'm excited to work with my friend again. I'm excited to have a steady hand that I can trust on the tiller of this ship, a second steady hand. I haven't forgotten about Yvonne, who's the only reason I've lasted this long at all. And I'm also excited about the mentorship that he can provide to me again, and also to the rest of our team. We are headed into a really exciting new chapter, guys. Better videos, better products, new investments that are going to make us just the primo source of tech information on the web. I'm sure of it. Now, I don't want to say too much more about him for now. Once he's onboarded, I'm sure he's going to want to prepare a little thing to talk to you guys about. You know, it'd be kind of fun. Should I interview him? Is that as funny as I think it is? You know, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. In the meantime, I can assure you that he is zero bullshit. He's a super hardworking guy with great attention to detail and not only a ton of experience in the computer industry, he actually has a background in media as well. He formerly wrote at NeoSeeker, if you want to go dig up some of his old articles for fun. Sorry, Taryn. Sorry for bringing that up, and sorry for turning your introduction here into this segue to our sponsor, Micro Center.
Dude, like the magic of Linus Tech Tips. I don't think people appreciate, by the way, what he's done for YouTubers in this like techie gaming space. He's normalized. This guy's normalized these ad reads in these videos. And I'm not joking. If a video makes $500 in ad revenue from just doing pretty well, being seen by people, you know, does pretty well. You can get a sponsor for that video that probably is going to pay anywhere from $2,000 to maybe even upwards of $10,000 for sponsoring that video, depending on how good your agent is at negotiating it. That was not a thing even 5-6 years ago. But because of the work of him and his team, normalizing this, doing those negotiations to set those standards, he's made it so not only is it more achievable for people to make a living doing this than ever before, but it's also easier for people to make a really good living doing this just by those ad reads and sponsorships. Yeah, I think it's easy to just be like, oh, they're so corporate. But honestly, like you get used to these ads so quickly. They do the little quick 5-second call out to Ridge wallets in the beginning, and then they go and they move on and they do something big. I can't get specific because of obvious reasons, but I recently signed a contract with a pretty large company for a sponsorship, and their format for everything they wanted, they basically signed a deal for like, you know, we want a 60-second ad read, and then we also want like a pre-roll, kind of like the Ridge wallet ad read in this video from Linus Tech Tips. Like they described basically how Linus does his videos, and puts these ads in here as what they were looking for. So like this guy is responsible for making it so a lot of those creators you know and love can make a living doing this, and you got to give him props for that. Did Linus do a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship and his community lost their minds? Yeah, I think what it was for him is he was just like, okay, it's like a game. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay. Like the audiences are smart. Okay. Like you guys are very, very smart. If you guys ever see me do a Raid Shadow Legends ad, you know that like it's wink, wink, nod, nod. We're getting that bag. Like, and if you don't want to play the game, you just don't download the app. Like it's pretty straightforward. And if you're interested in it, download the app. Easy. Like you guys are smart. You get it. But I think Raid Shadow Legends specifically is such a meme at this point that it's really easy to just like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I understand why it's easy to get upset about. But he did the sponsorship, and then I think he was like, people got really upset about that ad read that we did for that mobile game. And he was just like, so is it really people just don't like ad reads for mobile games? And the audience was like, yeah, we just don't like them. And he's like, okay. They just moved. That was a scandal and a half too. It's so weird. Like I don't know. I don't personally understand the drama behind it. If they make you, like I said, some of those mobile games, not saying Raid, but some of those mobile games will tell you, like, you have to say word for word exactly this. And you're like, but I wouldn't say it that way. That's not how I talk. The artwork is phenomenal, and I cannot recommend this game more than a possible maximum. Like, I don't talk like that. Like, too bad. You have to read it like that. That's what's written. And those ad reads, I totally understand why people are pissed about it, because it's like, it's not genuine. It's just super fake. But if it's just like, hey guys, listen, I got sponsored by this mobile game, Candy Crush. There's all sorts of new levels. You can pay to get more tries or whatever it is. I don't know how Candy Crush works, but it works like this, and it's super fun. If you're looking for something to pass the time on your phone, check it out today. Like, I don't see the drama behind that, but some people obviously do. What's the harm? Just skip it. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, if you really don't like it, just skip past it, but whatever. Some people got really, really upset about it. Really upset about it. I just want to know who's actually playing Raid for them to afford all these ads. I think the mobile game market is crazy huge. Like, it's people who are stuck in cubicles all day, people who work retail and are sitting behind a counter waiting for the 3 customers a day to come in. It's people like that are just trying to fill the time. I don't get their marketing team either. If somebody watches 2 tech creators and both of them say the same stuff word for word, that's not very credible. Yeah, maybe it is working though, because we're talking about it. I mean, maybe that's part of the plan. I don't know. That's what disclaimers are for, make money. Yeah, I will say recently, the Raid Shadow Legends, there's a bunch, well, basically how it works, I guess I could just describe this. Basically how it works is that the company, like say the company that makes Raid, whoever makes it, Tencent maybe, I don't know. Whoever makes the company or makes the game pays some marketing company usually to market the game. That marketing company then is going to go to 1,000 brokers and offer them the chance to sell ads for their game. So I'll get contacted whenever they do a new round of this. Me and my team will get contacted by like 15 different brokers who come along and say, hey, I have an opportunity for you to do an ad with Raid Shadow Legends. And it's always funny because they have the same budget based on my view counts, channel size, all of that. So they know, like, this is just a random number I'm pulling out of my head. This isn't what it would be, but let's say a round number, like 10 grand. We'll give you 10 grand to do this ad read. It would be way less than that probably, but let's say 10 grand. The broker that brings us that deal wants to make money on it. So they want to take a cut. So they come to me. And if they think like they don't know who I am, they don't know that I do a lot of these things and I have a really, really capable team, 28th Avenue Management, shout out. Then they might come and they'll be like, yeah, we can offer you $3,000. And if I've never done ad reads before, I might think that that's really good. Not realizing they're pocketing $7,000 and giving me the $3,000, right? And then the companies and teams that I've worked with before that know that I know what the rates should be, they might come and say, hey, we can get the deal done for $7,000. And then they pocket $3,000, you know, that kind of thing. When you grow, you really need like a good agent though, because those agents have those direct contacts. So they become the broker. So they just give you the direct cut. You know, it works way, way better. And what Linus did is he has his own employees who act as those brokers who work directly with the brands. And that's how you get the much bigger sponsorships. Like just for that Ridge wallet integration, that was probably like $5,000, I would guess. 5 to 10 grand. Easy money. I'm really into basketball nowadays. Really hard for me to watch a video without bumping into a sports betting segment on literally all of the videos, and all of them are pretty much identical. The sports betting thing is weird. I'll give you that. It's really, really weird. I don't really understand.
Just moving back to PlayStation.
All of that. Real quick, we're going to get into Fallout 76 here in just a second. I just want to run through these last tabs I've pulled up. So, speed round of gaming news and tidbits, okay? The Witcher 3 launched 8 years ago today. Feel old yet? I know I do. 8 years ago. That's crazy. Jeff Grubb was asked if he thinks Ghost of Tsushima 2 will be at the PlayStation Showcase. You guys know that Joe Raptor and myself talked about this on the podcast. Free Roam podcast, available on all major podcasting platforms, by the way. And Joe Raptor was pretty sure that they were going to show off Ghost of Tsushima 2. Apparently, Jeff does not think that's likely.
Just moving back to PlayStation Showcase, I might have just sniffed out that, well, two things that won't be there, if that helps anybody. It doesn't sound like Ghost of Tsushima 2 will be there. It sounds like it probably won't be there.
Someone's listening and feeding you stuff. I like this. Okay.
And the other one is, and I heard this a few weeks ago, Dragon Age Inquisition probably won't be there either.
Okay. No Dragon Age, probably. No Ghost of Tsushima 2, probably. Interesting. What this means, maybe they're just taking some more time for Ghost of Tsushima 2. Maybe they're going to show it somewhere else. Maybe there's not the same exclusivity deals. I mean, there would have to be, because it's the same team. But anyway, I really don't know what that means. It just probably means they're taking some more time. But that's not their crowning jewel, probably. So what else are they going to bring? Who knows? Who knows? There's a lot of candidates. But Jeff Grubb is the one that actually originally leaked that this event was going to be happening next week. And sure enough, it is. It's happening on Wednesday, by the way. So anybody who's looking forward to this, look forward to the stream on Wednesday of next week. It's going to be wild. We'll probably start it later so that we can just stream through the event. Should be pretty cool. But that's a little tidbit of info. It doesn't look like Ghost of Tsushima will be at the case. And speaking of about the showcase, Sony CEO Jim Ryan says PS5 exclusives won't launch on PC day one. This is something that's been communicated before, but he's just doubling down on it. Not to expect them to release like a Ghost of Tsushima 2 or another one of their major releases like The Last of Us Factions, and expect to see it on PC day one. They probably wait a year to work on it, quote unquote, but also just to be able to try to dip into those pockets twice, which is actually quite effective, you know, because if you sell, say, The Last of Us Part 1 remaster, remake, whatever, on PlayStation 5, but it's also available on PC day one, a lot of people like myself are probably just going to buy it on PC. No need to buy it on PlayStation. Just buy it on PC, assuming it runs well, and we'll be good. However, if you release it on PlayStation 5, I'm here and I'm like, yeah, I could see getting it, especially if it's a good remake or if it's a good exclusive, whatever. I'll buy it on PS5. And then a year goes by and it's like, oh, I had such a good time playing that. I want to play it again. Let me buy it again on PC this time. I can play it on ultra wide or whatever at super high frame rates. That's how they get that double dip into your pocket, where they get you to buy it twice. And honestly, it works. If it sells 5 million copies on PlayStation 5 and then they launch it on PC, they get that new audience and they get the double dip. They might double the sales just by releasing it on PC a year later, whereas releasing it on both day one might limit the total amount of money. I would love to know, and I'm sure they have this stat. I don't remember if I had to sign into a PlayStation account to play The Last of Us Part 1 on PC. I don't think I did, but there's got to be a way for them to know if they're double dipping, if somebody is playing on PlayStation and PC and bought the game twice. And if they have those stats, I'm sure that they would reflect a very, very healthy double dipping rate. Following in on this, Payo, who had one of the most like insane tweets I saw. This GTA 6 announcement, timed exclusive to PS5, is his prediction for the showcase. Just no. For one, all they need to do to announce GTA 6 is come out with a tweet and that's it. I think it's insane to think that they're going to also have it as a timed exclusive. That would cost billions of dollars. And there's just no need for them to do that. You know, Rockstar has the tendency to do like a year delay before we get the PC version. They probably are doing something similar for GTA 6. And what we know, I don't know if I have the tab pulled up, but anyway, they said in their earnings call, Take-Two Interactive said that they are expecting the game to come out fiscal year 25, I believe, which includes time periods in 2024. Most interpretations of those statements by investors was that GTA 6 will launch in the winter and fall of 2024, next year. So they're doubling down on that. They're communicating to investors that they're doing that. So GTA 6 will possibly be announced at the end of this year, or they're just going to wait till next summer, do a really short marketing campaign, and blast it through. Do you guys actually know when the original GTA 5 announcement was? Let's see. GTA 5 announcement trailer. November 2nd, 2011. So they did announce it a good ways ahead of time. I remember seeing this trailer and thinking it looked photorealistic. I was like, how do graphics get better than this? I remember thinking that. Now that's just like ridiculous. Look at the resolution too. 720p, baby. November 2011. And it launched, I think, what, May of 2020 or 2013? It was 2013. I don't remember what time of year it was. But, man. Yeah, this was something else when it launched. Still is very, very good. It's crazy that it's been almost, it's been 10 years. It's been almost 11 years. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But who knows? Who knows what this will look like? But I do know that it's not going to be an exclusive to PlayStation 5. That's ridiculous. Spider-Man 2 gameplay and date. Absolutely, we will see that. New Uncharted. I don't know. And I also don't know how big of a deal that would be if they announced that. Just because I think it not coming from Naughty Dog is probably going to hurt it, in my opinion. That's my opinion, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe they do nail it. Maybe it's a new franchise that Sony Bend is doing. I don't know. Ghost of Tsushima 2, apparently not happening. Factions 2, I think this is what we're going to see. I think Naughty Dog is going to have a lot of time to showcase Factions. That's my BDE prediction, is that Sony is going to have a lot of time to focus on what they've got going on. Several new IPs, both single player and games as a service. I think there's going to be a lot of games as a service. I think there's going to be a lot of those. They're probably showing, like Joe Raptor said on the podcast, they're probably showing the new Horizon multiplayer game that they've been working on that looks straight up like Fortnite, but with a Horizon coat of paint on it. That's my guess. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, maybe. I would hope so, but at this point, I just don't expect anything, so I'll be surprised. And Death Stranding 2 gameplay, I would guess probably not gameplay. I think it'll be another cinematic trailer that will be totally nonsensical and will still leave all of the Kojima fans giddy and super excited. As for other stuff that Pyro mentioned that were discussed during that Jim Ryan interview, reconfirmed Spider-Man 2 is a PS5 exclusive. Yeah. Okay, no shocker there. Japan's important to them. Probably means that we're going to see some more JRPG type games coming. Selected PS5 games will be ported to PC 2 to 3 years after the launch on the PC. In the interview, I don't remember him saying 2 to 3 years. I thought it was like a good amount of time. But maybe I just missed. Maybe I'm forgetting what it was. But maybe it is 2 to 3 years. My understanding was it's anywhere from 1 to 2 years after. But maybe after the trouble of The Last of Us Part 1 on PC, maybe they're just committing to more time, to have more time to polish. I really don't know. Lots of PSVR 2 games in development. They need it because right now the PSVR 2, there's very little reason to double down on it. And it's so funny, dude. I got so much flack when I said that I thought the PSVR 2 was not a good value right now and was not something you should buy. It's like, maybe one day it will be worth buying, but as of right now, it just isn't. The money isn't there, or the games aren't there to justify the money. And like, you would have thought that I said something totally insane, but we've seen it reflected. People have stopped going out and buying these things. They had to slash the manufacturing budgets and quotas for them because they are not selling off the shelves, because people are looking at it and being like, $500, $550 for that thing, or $500 and $550 for the PS5. I have to get like $1,000 in to use this thing, and there's very few games that are really worth playing right now. It just doesn't really make sense. It really doesn't. So it's going to be interesting, but they definitely need a lot more games for sure. Oh yeah, everybody like the stream right now. Let's get to 200. We can do it. I sold computers in a small store when GTA first came out, and I used to demo that game to everybody that came in. I played so many hours of that. Yeah, man, GTA 5 is an institution at this point. It really is. So it's crazy to see that we're actually nearing the next one. And what they said is the revenue numbers they're expecting from GTA 6 are outrageous. They are expecting so much money to come in from this game. So they're pretty confident. And then this last thing we're going to look at is just kind of stupid and random, but I thought it was super, super silly and kind of fun. This is madness. So this girl, she streams Parachiral, I don't know, on Twitch, and she has started a playthrough of Elden Ring using like a headset tracking thing that analyzes her, I guess, thoughts. I don't really understand how it works, but somehow they track her thoughts. And so like the attack animations happen through her thoughts, and then the movement is from her tilting her head. And it's just insane. Like, granted, this is the tutorial guy, so it's not like she's fighting, I don't know, Godric or something. But it's madness that she's able to actually use this thing to scan her brain waves to trigger attack animations and things with that. It's just ridiculous. One day, maybe we'll get to the point where you can just like, you don't have to tilt your head around. You can just think of what to do and it'll do it. That would be crazy. And it's great for people with disabilities and stuff. Being able, like, imagine if you don't have the use of your hands or anything, being able to actually play games in full capacity, it would be madness. There is that one guy who plays, I think, Fortnite. And he plays with just his hand, or just his mouth. Rocky No Hands. This guy. He has this device he uses, and he plays these games with just his mouth and head. And like, he's better than most people. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you know, he's very, very good at it. I mean, very, very good at it. But imagine just being able to put on basically a hat and then your brainwaves can control it too. Be way easier than having to learn how to do that. My goodness. My goodness. Now that skill, yeah, for real. I'm skeptical of this being real. Oh, they've already done tests with like the Neuralink stuff where they show monkeys playing Pong with just their thoughts. So it is a thing, but the fine control is much less consistent for real, or for sure. I wonder if, with the disappointment of Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, if Rockstar considers the development of further Red Dead games as a worthwhile investment. I think they do. I think it's just they realized that it was not going to be GTA Online, and so then they're like, okay, well, maybe we just don't put that much effort into the online component, which I can understand. I can understand that. Monkeys playing Pong, take my money. I mean, it's a thing. Neuralink. Oh no. Really? Oh, that's tragic. He's got cancer. Jeez. This is the video. It's just a monkey. Look, he's holding this like joystick. And every time he hits it, it spits out like a little treat for him, basically. So all that. And then you watch this. It's not plugged in. But just his thoughts of moving the joystick are enough to control it. So it does work. Like you can see, it's just his thoughts moving that dot. But yeah, it's madness. Yeah, and then playing Pong. So it's very rudimentary, but they will probably eventually get to the point where you'd be able to do something like this with more advanced interactions and commands. It's pretty insane. So this save file that we are on here is just a little ways into the game. And it's probably just like 2-3 hours of run around. I had to restart because the launcher on Xbox is absolute garbage. I can actually show you. I think it was this one, ultra wide. This. Yeah, this is what it was like trying to launch the game. Okay. This is the Xbox launcher. You hit play, and it just immediately crashes. Hit play, crashes. And it doesn't matter how many times you try to do it, that's what it will keep doing no matter what. Like some people said, oh, it fixes itself if you reinstall the entire Xbox launcher. I don't want to have to reinstall the entire launcher and all of the games I've gotten to work on the Xbox launcher just to try and get Fallout 76 working. So I went and I found a secondary key available for $10, and I got it on Steam. Hit play, it launched, and we're fine. But it's still, I insist, it is madness that Xbox, after all this time, cannot get their PC launcher working consistently. You're owned by Windows, and you can't get the Windows version of your game working well enough through your own software to justify its use. Like, people are having to go and spend $10 that they don't want to spend, even though they already have the game for free through Game Pass, or for no added cost through Game Pass. And they're buying it on Steam just so that they can launch it. It's insane. The fact that the Windows launcher for Game Pass has been broken for like 3-4 years. It's never worked, but it's been broken since Game Pass really took off. It's just baffling. It's baffling. And if anything makes you question the capability of the leadership at Xbox, that should do it. Real quick, guys, it's 78 degrees Fahrenheit in here, so I'm going to turn on the AC. You're going to hear a little bit of buzzing, like in the background. I'm just going to run it for a little bit. It's just because it's super, super hot. Okay. We'll just get it to be a reasonable temperature. Exactly, you gotta sell moonshine or make deliveries, or shit gets boring after 100 levels. They sold the bag on the story mode and jacked up the price for everything. What's that in Celsius? Alexa, what's 78 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
78 degrees Fahrenheit is about 25.56 degrees Celsius.
25.56. Alexa, stop. I can turn up the gate too. Hold on. Yeah, this room gets mad toasty. Okay, study Dr. Hudson's research, equip a set of fatigues. Oh, I already did that. Oh my god, dude, I already did this and it's having me redo it. It didn't save. Of course. Of course. Of course. So the fatigues are in here. Man, how on earth? It's still so buggy. It didn't save my stuff. It's also like, I don't know if it comes through on stream because the stream is at 60, but it's like weirdly choppy. So it's like, even though the game is running at, let's see, 80 frames on a 4090, which is insane. It still looks like maybe the movement of the world is only happening at like 40 frames. It's really weird.
Uniform issued.
It's just frankly kind of an ugly game. Even now, it just doesn't look very good. But you know what? People have said the community is why you play it. So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, we're seeing 28, 30%, 35% GPU utilization. And just to show you, we just have things cranked, but for some reason it can't run any higher than this. What about full screen? I have to restart the game to get it to run in full screen. Okay. CPU utilization, that's only at 14%. Hold on. What are we looking at? Even the cores it's using, it's not like, except for this one, 12. It's not like utilizing the entire core.
"16 times the detail."
I guess this one's heavier used, but man. Also, you cannot kill NPCs that are quest givers, which is like big cringe. I definitely adjusted the sensitivity settings and it did not save them. Dude, it's still so sensitive. What is the deal? Already, I'm being reminded of why I can't stand this game. Like, it's... Oh my god. Yeah, so weirdly choppy for being at 90 frames. I don't know what this is. What is... Okay.
Now that's what I like to see.
My brain is already frying.
Up and ready to die for your country. There are 3 training exercises you'll need to complete. Marksmanship, agility, and patriotism. Our courses, like all things in the great territory of Appalachia, are automated. So you over-promoted mammals can do them as you see fit. Complete the courses to my satisfaction, and we'll get you moved on to the real test. Dismissed!
Dismissed!
This is in the bad reviews in the eye.
Just a refresher, okay?
If you found this tape, it means that everyone is dead. Or working at a different office. How did this happen? Well, I'll tell you. Buckle up, buckaroos. Today's lesson is the misfired launch of Fallout 76. June 2018. It began with everyone getting just a little hyped up.
Have we waited long enough?
Oh, dude, do you remember that? Oh, I forgot about that. They started this live stream where it was just like this screen. I wonder if I can actually like find it. Sorry, Neuralink monkey playing Pong. Let's see. This, yeah, people were so hyped. They were watching just this blank screen. Here it was.
I have the volume up there. Oh, what's this?
Dude, I remember this so well.
Todd?
Have we waited long enough, guys?
Yes?
I think we have. We want to thank all of you who tuned into this. It's amazing. We have had over 2 million unique visitors to the stream to watch, I don't know what, nothing, but we have something really cool to show you. It's a tease for our next game, and we'll see you all at E3 June 10th. Thanks again.
Thanks, Todd. All right, what is it?
What is it? Everybody was so excited. There was so much confusion when this dropped, though. So much confusion, because people were like, so is it Fallout 5? No. Something else. It's a multiplayer Fallout? What? I remember thinking graphically it looked pretty good. Now I don't know what I was looking at. But get copyright
Pete.
struck hardcore.
Nobody has been predicting this. Okay, Pete. Love.
This, like, they were so goofy and like weirdly cocky about this. It was so weird, especially because we know how this turned out. It was just so weird for them to be so cocky about it. What a load of bullocks, says the Twitch chat. We skipped Fallout 5 through 75 for this. 177,000 people were in the stream for that. Man, old school Twitch too. Look at that. Yeah, man, it was madness. It was crazy. People were so hyped for it. And then it dropped and they were like, all of a sudden the confusion was overwhelming. It was very, very strange. It didn't make any sense. But yeah, this live stream, that's a throwback, man. That dude looks so demotivated because he knew. Do you think he knew though? Like, that's the thing I always am so confused about. Do these executives actually know what they're getting into? Because I would think surely they've tried the games. Surely they're aware that this isn't where it needs to be. Like, I would think. But maybe not. Maybe they honestly are not aware of just how broken it is. Or maybe like what they tell some reviewers, they just trusted that they were going to patch it and fix it in time. I don't know. Just really weird though.
Guys?
Oh God, yes we have, Todd.
I think we have.
Fallout 76, Bethesda's biggest game yet. My God, it was exciting. And they promised we'd know more at E3. E3 hype time. The press conference. 16 times the detail.
16 times the detail.
16
All new rendering, lighting, and landscape technology.
4 times the map size.
It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4. And it's our biggest one yet.
My God, it was exciting.
It just goes to show you, bigger does not always mean better. Okay, just because the map is 4 times the size does not mean it's great. Plus, like, you look at the map in Fallout 76, yeah, it's big, but most of this is just like big empty spaces with nothing. Like, it's a lot of bloat. Just being real. It's a whole lot of bloat. There's other players. These are all other players, by the way. These little dots. Snakes are silent. They're all very high level. 263, 462. Jeez. 124, 526. Wow. Dude, there's some hardcore players in this lobby. 781, Jesus God. How long do you have to play Fallout 76 to be level 781? Wow. What's the level cap? Is there one? That's insane. Yeah, exactly. Matchmaking's great here. I'm in a lobby with a 781 level character. I think I'm level 4 or 5. There isn't one? Oh, I can see it. 781 has got to be day one. Like, that's got to be early. One of the first players. Like, Jesus.
November 14th, 2018. The game goes live.
Why is it raining
with a
through
day
the
one
steel
patch
roof?
of 50 gigabytes. For fuck's sake.
Like, okay, to be fair, water does fall through holes. But there's water falling straight through the steel, the solid steel. Okay. It's just one of these little things that pulls you out a little bit, you know? And this is what it was described to me as. Somebody in that comment section, when I was talking about the idea of coming and playing this again, seeing what it's like, they were like, there's still a lot of little bugs, a lot of little bitty things that stand out, are weird, or not working the way they should be. But it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's not going to break the game for you, but it just pulls you out a little bit. But eventually you just tune them out. And for me, like, this is one of those things where it's just annoying. It makes me not take it super seriously. And it just is clear this isn't working the way it probably should be. But some people will say this is not a bug, it's a feature because there's holes in the ceiling. So it's actually really, really cool.
I'll see you tomorrow. But once that's downloaded, people start logging into the hellscape
it's not this
that
bad.
is Fallout 76. And oh dear lord, they never fix the bugs. And there are so many of them. Goodbye world, goodbye necks, goodbye body, goodbye heads, bugs everywhere. Server crashes, game crashes, old bugs imported from Fallout 4. Use more than one nuke at a time, server's dead. Textures far too texturous, an all-consuming void. Error log 307. Can't pick up stuff, can't stop asserting dominance with a T-pose, framerate problems, screen tear problems, getting too swole, getting underneath the map, getting attacked by invisible enemies, spawning too many enemies.
It kind of speaks for itself.
Spawning too many god rays. Also, your camp resets after every session, and sometimes it goes underwater. Holotapes randomly play static, but too many holotapes mean none of them will play. Enemy AI is far more A than I. Animations are broken. Surprise! Floating objects and a traveling merchant. Just to name a few. Joseph Anderson has a great video that documents just the ones that he found personally. That video is 3 hours long. But it gets worse.
The little, like, musical inserted, it's great. I love it.
DE348780 can corrupt your data and force you to reinstall the game and console operating system. A few PC players had their computers brick entirely. Also, when the date rolled over to the 1st of January 2019, the nukes in the game stopped working altogether. No one thought it prudent to program in other years in an always online game. And a few players were straight up logging into other people's accounts. This guy had a level 78 character that was randomly replaced with a level 8 character. Bethesda said they couldn't do anything about it. Many players are not thrilled with this game, and they want Bethesda to know that. And they want everyone else to know that too. but Bethesda owns the platform. Is Fallout 76 fun?
Yes, it is. Banned for racism. Thread locked.
They had no direct outlet for their rage. The only solution was to put a torch to everything else. Reddit, Twitter, Bethesda's other...
Okay, and this is one thing, like, there is a real question to be asked about who was responsible for what. Like, did Todd know what was going on with the banning of critiques and criticism? Like, did they actually know all that stuff? Or were they just kind of floating by and then their other teams were screwing up? Even if he wasn't the one responsible for it initially, I think he knew what was happening. Like, he knew, obviously, because it was all over the internet, that they were banning negative comments, they were doing lots, and I think he could have made calls and fixed it and dealt with it. And he chose not to, you know? This is the clunkiest, like, agility course in any game ever. The buttons don't click when you click it. It's so clunky. It's so bad. Like, look, there I press the button, then it takes a second to load. Then I come here, I press the button, and then it goes. It's so clunky, dude. They can't even get buttons working right. Click. It's like mildly infuriating.
The game's on Steam. The backlash was immense. But surely level heads would prevail. The reviewers would come out and say that the game isn't so bad. Oh dear lord, they hated it. This is so sad. Despacito, play Country Roads.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River.
And the YouTube community had this to say.
It's really fucking boring.
Could barely bring myself to play it in order to finish this review.
No one on staff wants to play any more of this video game. I'm not going to subject
They
myself
can't find
to
reviewers
another
to play it.
20,
That's
30 hours
amazing.
of this fucking mess.
In short, Fallout 76 is morally, technically, and creatively bankrupt.
The mods on Bethesda forums were working overtime. The mods on Reddit almost gave up. Look, I'm not saying that some people didn't enjoy and have fun with this game. But what I am saying is that the Metacritic was really funny to read. So what happened? Well, it came out that development was hugely rushed.
Angry Joe's got awful. I understand why some people don't jive with him. I get it. He is like a long-term guy, but he's another one of those people that just needs to get off of Twitter. Like, maybe this is controversial. I don't know. But there was like a solid... On Twitter, it's like 80% of the people there. 80% of Twitter users who, frankly, should not be trusted with it. Like, they cannot responsibly use Twitter. They say stupid stuff that will get them canceled in 2 years. It's just amazing. Like, just because you can send out a thought doesn't mean you should every single time. Like, it's amazing to me. It's baffling. It's too much. I don't know if it's maturity or if it's just like this impulse, like they struggle with impulse control, so they just want to, like, they have the thought of saying something and so they just say it before really thinking it through. I don't know, but man, it's Angry Joe is one where he just constantly is getting himself into trouble for those stupid reasons. Stupid stuff.
The deadlines were tight. Too tight.
Chronic lack of any filters whatsoever. Maybe it's that. I think it's also, you get a little bit of a big head when you have a lot of followers on Twitter, and so you think everybody wants to hear your opinion on absolutely everything, and they just frankly don't. Like, you guys don't want to see me tweeting out random stuff on politics and religion and things like that, because who gives a crap? I'm at gaming videos. Like, why the fuck, like, why would you care? You don't, and you shouldn't. I'm just a gaming YouTuber. Like, chill. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it. I'll tell you what I think, but I'm not going to go out there and just try to lecture the world on what I think about this stuff, because chances are I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. But it seems like most people that are on Twitter, like I said, probably 80%, think that everybody should listen to their thoughts. It's like they really took to heart that whole thing that you used to get told in elementary school. Oh, everybody's a snowflake and everybody wants to hear your thoughts, and together we can make the world a brighter place. It's like, no, you have bad ideas and you should shut up. Like, that's what most people should do, including myself, with things that I know nothing about. Like, why should you care what I think about solar technology? You shouldn't. You shouldn't. So I'm not going to ramble it at you. Like, who cares? Why should you care what I think about Twitter? You shouldn't. I don't even tweet out these thoughts on Twitter because it's stupid.
Plus, this wasn't Bethesda's A-team. It's actually a relatively inexperienced division based in Austin, and
This is what I thought too. I thought that it was built by Austin and that BGS was just there kind of on the side to talk to them every once in a while. But apparently the team at BGS, Maryland, was actually much more involved than we previously thought. They actually were pretty active. They didn't pour like all their time into it, but they were there and they worked on it pretty heavily, which is why Starfield took longer than they thought. Notice how delayed the health bar is from when the bullet hits. It's just like so much of this game feels like it's held together by duct tape.
The scope of the game kept getting bigger.
We're gonna need distant weather systems.
Hey Todd, I stayed up all night and I just finished.
We're gonna need 16 times the detail.
Please, Todd, no more.
We're gonna need 4 times the size
of Fallout 4.
That, and they were trying to patchwork the old Bethesda creation engine into a multiplayer framework. What else could you expect?
And this is what actually kind of worries me about Starfield is I don't know if Starfield's using like an updated version of the Fallout 76 engine or an updated version of the Fallout 4 engine. Because if it's an updated version of the Fallout 76 engine, we're screwed. We're totally screwed. Because this thing still runs like garbage 5 years later. I mean, look at the performance stats. On a 4090, we're at 80 frames, running at 1440p ultra wide, and only 34% GPU utilization. Madness.
That's why I give my kids Fallout 76.
Now, Bethesda could tolerate the bugs and the bad reviews and the irate players, but what they couldn't tolerate were the exploits. Infinite inventory, infinite invisibility. The frame rate was tied to the game speed, so people were going a lot faster than they should.
Oh yeah.
Server hopping for more items, infinite cache and infinite duplication, unlimited XP, unlimited nuking. The nuclear codes were unencrypted and you could wall clip into the quest room. And someone was given the curse of infinite invincibility. Naturally, this can really mess with other players' online experience. So Bethesda...
They probably got banned for being invincible. That's just like, oh, they're cheating, ban them. Like, no, please help. Let me die. Kill me, I'm in so much pain.
Was ready with the ban hammer.
This just
and a blindfold to wildly flail around and take down anyone who happened by. But Bethesda wasn't satisfied with just banning people. No, they're a progressive company with big ideas.
Big ideas.
They wanted to give a road to redemption. So sent out this email to players caught cheating.
This is amazing.
We would be willing to accept an essay on why the use of third-party cheat software is detrimental to an online game community. That's right, 500 words on why you're a very naughty boy, and they may just give you your account back. But a couple of days later, the mocking from news outlets caused them to reconsider this approach.
I'll be real, this could have been really, really funny if it was coming from somebody else with like a good game that's like solid. But when your game is like garbage and then you're telling people to write an essay, it just comes off as like really, really out of touch, especially because a lot of the bans were like not the person's fault. A lot of people were getting banned because they were just playing the game and something like broke. It's really, really weird. But man, Starfield got made from the no refunds of 76, probably, honestly. if you're playing just get nitpicky, you're gonna get disappointed. Well, we're like, what everybody has told me about Fallout 76 is that what really makes it click and what makes it work is the community. So what we're doing now is we're playing the game, just trying to play it like a normal average player who's getting started, going through it, working through it slowly. And we're gonna see if we encounter the community and we see what happens. Because I could like tweet out, hey, join my server, send me friend requests, creators of Fallout 76 content. We could do that, but that's not reflective of what the average consumer is going to get with this game. Like, I want to see how Ryanator is working. Maybe we'll go to his camp after this. Try to meet him, see if he's nice. See if he gives me stuff.
One more exploit. In all the Bethesda games, there's a dev room. Every item in the game is kept here. Security has to be top-notch because otherwise, someone could just waltz in and take all of the best items in the game and it would be an absolute disaster. Well, shit. Of course, Bethesda wasn't equipped to deal with the issue. People started flooding in, taking the best items in the game, then selling those items on a black market of sorts. At first, they tried the usual approach. Banning people who had some of the best items in the game. You spent 700 hours just to get the best gun? Die, cheater! Next, they put in a system where players would get tagged if they ever entered the room, and they banned those players. That wasn't much better because people would just start using Smurf accounts. Get in quick with a level 1 account. Get all that good shit. Then get the fuck out. Then use a duplication glitch to get a ton more of those items. Then transfer that stuff to your main account, and you're good to go. Bethesda then takes out this level 1 and calls it mission accomplished. And you've just beaten the game. So the problem continued. Bethesda is running out of ideas to solve it. There's a lot of speculation in the media and among players about how exactly people are getting in, but no one except for the exploiters knows for sure. That said, Bethesda needs to act fast before it ruins the economy of the game. So they wrote another email and sent it out to the Smurfs. Hello, do you want it?
They straight up asked the hackers, please, pretty please, tell us how you broke into our game. It was so bad. They were so desperate.
Tell us how you did it, and we might unban you, please? Should we not hear back from you, the account will simply remain suspended. It's not known whether this approach worked, but from what I've seen, it's still possible to get into the dev room. November 22nd, 2018. Just a week after the release, the game goes on discount. From $60 to $40. To $35.
Real quick.
To $30. You can find it for $15 on eBay, and in Germany, they're straight up giving it for free when you buy a PlayStation controller. Also, some stores are just...
Yeah, I went to a Best Buy. I think I've mentioned this before, but I went to a Best Buy in Denver. It's like Thornton area, actually. And they had like 2 copies of Fallout 76 taped to a box with a Xbox One 76 bundle. Like, they were just trying to get rid of the copies as quick as they could. It was bad, man. It was bad.
Zip
okay, we have a long
to other
hike.
Products. But to Bethesda, it's worth selling the thing at a price close to $0, because it brings people into the atomic shop, which is where the real margins are, and it inflates the poor sales figures. Let's have a look at those. The latest figures show 76 sold less than a sixth of what Fallout 4 did.
It still sold 2.46 million, guys. Come on. Dude, that's still way too many copies. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. You see how like it's ever so slightly lagging behind the bullets that actually land on screen? It's just slightly behind where it needs to be.
Not good.
Oh god.
There's also been a massive oversupply of hard copies. Although what's the point of a hard copy when the thing is just a cardboard disc telling you to redeem an online code? And while sales are low, Returns are high. Immediately upon release, people began asking Bethesda for a refund. 76 is not on Steam, it's on Bethesda's own platform. So
now it is, but that's because they were bought out and all of this. My conspiracy theory back when Fallout 76 launched was that this whole thing was being done as a means of basically maximizing revenues to make the company look better before the acquisition to have higher revenues and stuff. I still don't know for a fact that that's what happened, but it seems to be one of the few things that could explain this. What is with this lighting? There's no light. Why is it lit? Okay, you know what? It's not a big deal. Poop soup. That's funny. Dead ass.
they have all the control. If players only played the game for a few hours, then generally they'd get their money back. However, it came out that people were sometimes getting refunds after a full 24 hours of play. Quite generous, but then word about this spread to forums. Then to Reddit, and a post got 12,500 upvotes informing people that this made pretty much everyone eligible for a refund, and the comments told them exactly how to do it. Bethesda was flooded with requests for refunds. And their response? Shut it down, lads. No one gets a refund now. Everyone go home. Show's over. Robot customer service man engage.
Customers who have downloaded the game are not eligible for a refund. We apologize for the inconvenience. Die.
I understand it's tricky to issue refunds for online games and for games where people could download it and then pirate it. I get it. I understand. But that's literally not our problem. Like, we're the ones that are paying. I think it was north. Yeah, northeast. We're the ones that are paying to make this like happen. And one of the ways that you improve your company is by, in the words of Jeff Bezos, being obsessive about your customers. And it feels as though this is like the total opposite of that. It's just like, we've already lost the customers. It's like they're giving up. It's like, oh, well, the customers probably hate us after this, so let's just not bother with keeping them happy, you know? Let's just not even bother.
A few things followed. First, people got mad. One hardcore gamer even trashed a GameStop for refusing his refund.
I'm pretty sure that was fake, though.
Thank you for calling GameStop. This is Brian. How can I help you?
A bit of an overreaction, but probably also fake. Second, the media. And third, a class action lawsuit. Their inconsistent refund policy and terms of service may not be strictly legal.
I'm still pissed. Elon and Todd Howard had that collaboration at E3 2019. Thank you, Nathaniel. Jeez, thank you. And they sat down on the stage and they talked together and they had this whole thing. And at that event, there was a Q&A afterwards. I was in the audience for this. And it was great. Elon's also huge. I don't know if it comes through on video, but the dude's massive. He's built like a Viking Jarl. It's great. Oh, look at the video. There we go. But during the Q&A, somebody had an option to ask Todd a question like, hey, what on earth was up with Fallout 76? Do you really expect us to just forgive you and move on? Like, nobody asked that question. They could have, but nobody did. I wasn't close enough to the microphone to ask any questions. Instead, all the questions they asked were like, Elon, can I have a job? Elon, can you give me a dab? Elon, can I get a selfie? It was so cringe, dude. It drove me crazy. I was like, this is your chance to tell Todd to go F himself, and you didn't take it. It's amazing. Because to be fair, okay, I get it. This is like me being maybe overly negative. Some people would say not skeptical, cynical. I don't care. What Bethesda did with Fallout 76 was evil, okay? They knew the game was a broken pile of garbage, and they chose to still send it out there. They didn't care. They knew it was broken, and they still sold you. They chose to sell you a pile of broken garbage. And then to double down on it, and to make it, in some cases, worse. And even now, 5 years later, look at this. Look at this. You see that shadow on that leg? Look. See that? It's still glitching out all this time later. There's still problems. They never fixed this stuff completely. It's like, it was evil. Okay? They tried to steal your money, and yet you're just gonna forgive them. It's the disagreement I've had with Maddie, with Colt, with all of these like hardcore fanboys. Maddie's not really a hardcore fanboy anymore. There was a time when he might have been considered a BGS fanboy, but now I think Maddie's very level-headed, to be fair. Colt, on the other hand, is just a hardcore fanboy. But I'm not going to forgive this multi-billion-dollar company because they gave me 500 atoms and a couple of patches. Okay? They tried to effectively steal your money with a broken product. You know what I'm going to do if I go and I buy a car and the car is totally broken, they don't allow me to return it, and they just pocket my money and run? I'm not gonna buy a car from that company again. Or at the very least, before I do, it's gonna take a lot of convincing. They're gonna have to really win me over. Like, a lot. I'm not just gonna roll over and be like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Past's in the past. No! Screw that. They have to earn my money, my respect, my time, and my effort. You're not entitled to it. But the danger with fanboyism and hype is that you put yourself into a position where you're defending the people in the companies that are effectively taking advantage of you and abusing you. And that's not how that like life should work. Okay? If you're treated poorly, you should not accept that. You should reject it. You should shed them from your life. Come on. Ian, Luke, for your own mental health, don't worry about it. You'll have a heart attack. Yeah, that's true. Actually, calm down. Take some Xanax or something. But the consumer is always wrong. You are right. Agreed, but the leadership is different now. ZeniMax wanted quick money before Microsoft bought it. The management is not different, though. Pete Hines, Todd, all of those guys are still at the upper echelons of Bethesda Softworks and Bethesda Game Studios. The people within ZeniMax are still there because, as we found out with Redfall, Xbox treats these companies independently. They don't actually blend them together. So it's not new management. It's the same guys are still there. Toxic soot flower. I don't need that. So, yeah, just drop them all. Jeez. So it's not the same. It is the same guys. Nothing's changed. Just have so much crap. How am I so weighed down? Carrots. Why do carrots weigh so much? God damn it. A tomato is half a pound. This is a video game. What are we doing? I know this is, I will acknowledge and admit this is personal preference, okay? This is not me saying anything like definitively. I personally really, really dislike inventory management. It drives me crazy. It just do. Okay, we'll do that. Just dump all of it. Oh, it doesn't fall on the ground. It just disappears. I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. I think it's supposed to fall on the ground. Am I crazy? Or is that a Fallout 76 thing and I'm just thinking of Fallout 4? Do they do that so you can't gift stuff to other players or something? Because it seems like when you drop something out of your inventory, it should drop. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I have no idea. I don't know what's happening. This whole thing is a fever dream. This whole thing. I'm going to have an aneurysm. I think the only fun management, inventory management was in RE4. It can be used sometimes, like in horror games or thriller games, it can be used thematically. So like, oh, I'm being attacked by a scary monster. Juggling your inventory is something that adds to the experience. Okay. You know, and that can make things better compared to worse. But in something like this, like it just, I personally don't like it. I understand some people find it satisfying. I personally don't like it when I'm exploring, having a good time, or maybe not having a good time, but I'm exploring, and then I have to like just spend 2 minutes filtering through things that are way more than they should. I did see a really funny statement from Todd. Somebody mailed him a box of like bobby pins after I think Fallout 4 launched, and they just included a note that said, weigh these. It was just like, Todd, these things don't weigh as much as you think they do. Revolutionary AI pathfinding. Yeah, this guy's just stuck. That guy's caught. At least he's shooting me. He's got good line of sight. I'll give him that. I don't want to be like a picky, cynical prick, okay? We're going to be real. I'm just like, we're trying to play this as organically as we can and just see if we start having fun at some point. That's kind of the goal.
November 27th, 2018. Miglaccio and Rathod LLP filed a class action suit on behalf of customers. Media quickly picked up on that. Their main argument is that it's a sometimes unplayable game owing to its technical problems, then they're refusing refunds, and that Bethesda is engaged in a strategy to release it anyway and then slowly patch their way into a more playable state. Updates on this lawsuit are slow.
Which absolutely is happening. Oh. Imperium, bud? I don't know what you got going on, but Imperium, do you think you could go through this and just like do a little collection of all the bugs we're finding and these little things? Because man, I would love to see the broader collection of all of these, or at the very least like clip them through YouTube. Because man, like, is this gonna ruin the game? Like, does something like this ruin the game for you? No, like this is not a big deal. It's stupid. 5 years after launch, it probably shouldn't be here, but it's just funny. It's just funny. I don't know how to help. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna leave you to it. What hurt me? Okay. Kunal, thank you. Welcome. The nice 10mm rounds. Ooh, I busted you up, bruh. Ooh. Now imagine this with 1,000 different planets and 16 times more detail. That is precisely why I am very, very worried about Starfield. Like, and what I seriously, like, my brain just does not comprehend why people like get upset with us playing games like this and then pointing out the problems. Because I'm like, listen, if this is your last thing that you did, I don't think I'm crazy for thinking, hey, maybe the next thing you do isn't going to be very good either. But people instead come in and are like, you're just trying to hate on it. I'm like, no, like, I'm glad that you can enjoy it. I'm glad that you're having a good time. But let's call a duck, you know? Like, if it's not running great, if it's got problems, let's just acknowledge it. Just gonna eat this and get irradiated. I don't care anymore. We're headed over there. Just looked up the state of that class action lawsuit. Looks like nothing came out of it yet. 5 years later, dude. Jeez. Luke, it's a Friday. No trauma dumping. Sorry. sorry, Rocky. Everybody, I'm so sorry. No trauma dumping. I'm sorry.
It's been so customer. Those blasted paper targets, they really don't hold up to the wind and rain. Not to mention the radioactive fallout. Unfortunately, my programming demands I keep fresh paper targets in place, no matter how unnecessary it may be.
Okay. I rarely rewatch videos on YouTube, but I rewatched your reaction you did to Colt Eastwood's Starfield hype video twice now because it's so ridiculous and funny. Yeah, that stream clip actually did quite well. I was actually pleasantly surprised. And it's just, I don't really know how anybody goes into that and says, no, that was a level-headed take on his part. Like, I would love, Rocky, if you want to reach out to him, I guess that could be something we could try. Rocky, if you want to reach out to that Colt guy and see if he wants to come on stream and talk about it, I'd be interested. I think that could be a fun little debate. Because, like, I don't want to just hate on the guy, but I'm just genuinely baffled that you could do that with a straight face and not realize that you are potentially leading your audience quite astray. Especially, like, for me, it gets, I think why I get so riled up about it, and let me know if this is, like, unacceptable or if I'm being irrational here. I think the reason why I get so riled up by some of the fanboy types that hype up games, like something like Starfield, before we have reason to really think that it's worth being super hyped about, is because it feels deceptive. It almost feels like lying. You know, like, because I think there is a lot of evidence to suggest that there are reasons you should not be super hyped for it. Like, there's a lot of indications, like Fallout 76 that we're playing right now, that show there are serious problems with the way Bethesda has produced games in the recent past, with their engine, with their tech, with their QA department, with their respect for their players. There's a lot of issues and reasons to be concerned. And when you come along and hype up your audience, telling them, no, Starfield is going to be the greatest game since the second coming of Hideo Kojima. There's going to be 16 times the detail, radiant AI, and there will even be robots that fillet you in your downstairs. Like, I find that upsetting because they know how Fallout 76 ran. They know what Bethesda did with that launch. They know they sold a broken pile of garbage, that the game is still freaking buggy. Exhibit A with the smokestack. Jesus. And yet they're still hyping it up. And what that does is it gets the community, your fan base, hyped up to the point where they are going to spend money potentially on the game. They're going to pre-order it. They're going to do whatever. And that makes you responsible for them wasting their money, their time, their energy, their excitement for clicks. And I just find that so detestable. Like, you have a fiduciary duty to your audience. Yeah, exactly. What QA department? You have a fiduciary duty to your audience when you get to be a YouTuber with thousands of people watching your stuff to come along and try to explain things critically and fairly, not hype people up irresponsibly. And when somebody not just fails to do that, but they like intentionally and knowingly go the opposite way. They intentionally and knowingly hype it up to an extreme extent. I find that pretty detestable. I just really lose respect, especially when somebody comes off as somebody who's pretty smart, who knows what they're doing, and then they do that. I find that to be pretty gross, you know, in my humble opinion.
That one guy super chatted $4.99.
Thank you, my friend.
This game bricked my computer back when it first came out.
Jesus.
Also, if Starfield is literally just Fallout 4 but in space, I will be happy. Love the vids.
Thank you, my friend. I agree. If they can come along and it is Fallout 4 in space or something, you know, roughly similar, I think people could be happy. I do think that there's a lot of weight, especially now, on them pulling off the technical side of it, which is where I think people will mostly be super disappointed. And again, this is why it's so important to have reasonable expectations for this stuff, because let's just be perfectly honest, I don't think there's a shot in hell that Starfield runs well at launch. And I don't even think that's controversial. I think like every piece of evidence, everything Bethesda's ever done points to it probably launching pretty busted. However, people like Colt and those guys that hype this up are going to convince their audiences that no, it'll probably run really well because it's on Creation Engine 2. As if, you know, that's even a thing to begin with. And so they're going to be shocked when the game launches buggy and broken, and there's going to be some mad cope going on. And it's just, oh, nice. It's just too bad. Because they shouldn't have to deal with that level of disappointment if they were watching people who were just responsible with their dialogue. Remove high-level power armor pieces to use as power armor frame.
Is attempting to evade capture. Beginning pursuit.
What's the high-level piece? I don't... Oh yeah, don't forget that Radiant AI. Yeah, exactly. Luke, do you think people now expect every AAA title to be revolutionary, leading hype for no reason? I don't think every single title. I think that specifically coming from companies that, let's be honest, there are reasons to like Bethesda stuff. There's reasons to be hyped. I also think Ultra Wide is stretching the previews of these items so they don't look right. Am I crazy? They're like slightly squished or something. They just don't, like, this is supposed to be, I thought, more circular than it looks, but maybe I'm just misremembering how they look. Anyway, there's reasons I think to be hyped for a game coming from a studio that's made some of your favorite games ever. I think that's reasonable to be like, oh, I'm excited. I loved Fallout 4 or Fallout 3, and so I'm excited to play the latest Fallout game or Starfield, whatever. However, it's not just that simple. There's other variables in that equation that have to be considered. It's like he's being paid to do it. I honestly, if you told me that he was being paid, I would not be shocked at all. Like his videos, to be fair, did a better job of communicating the Bethesda talking points than I think anything Bethesda's produced. Luke, am I crazy? Yes, very much so. Well, actually, Luke, kinda. I swear no games even know how to run well anymore. Maybe, hopefully it's changing. Hopefully this year is the one, kind of like 2014, you know, Assassin's Creed Unity launched and it was just a disaster. And everybody was like, okay, never do that. And so then all of a sudden games started launching pretty polished for a little bit. Like from 2016, 17, 18, games until Fallout 76. Games generally ran pretty well if they were AAA quality. And then we got into this weird rut. I think a lot of the rut we're in right now is probably from the last trailing remnants of COVID and work remote. I'm not in game dev, so I won't pretend to know why this is the case, but I've been told by a handful of people who work in game dev that they feel they're more productive and they work more efficiently when in the office. They said, I really like working at home because I really like not having to go anywhere, of course, but they said that they really think that it was more efficient when they could just get up, go over to the desk of the QA guy and explain with the programmer there what's going on instead of having to like schedule and do a Discord call or a Slack chat or Zoom call or something. So I don't know. I don't know if it's actually greatly increasing efficiency, but the fact that so many corporations want people to come back to the office, I think says that there probably is a lot of evidence that people work more efficiently or do more work for the same amount of pay when in the office. So Oh yeah, Rocky, thank you. Likes, everybody, like the stream. Do it. Do it. We got over 200. Let's push for 3. Let's push for 300. We can do it. Let's see. There's something very weird about the Xbox hype accounts in particular. Like, I remember being more hyped for Death Stranding than any other game, and then getting over the hype right away when the reviews dropped. Same happened with a lot of people that didn't like The Last of Us Part 2 as well. But with the big Xbox Twitter accounts I see, it's genuinely culty levels of investment hype. I will say I see the same thing from PlayStation fanboys too. I'm not gonna, pretend as though they're not. Do I just need to take off some of this stuff? I don't see a level listed. Oh, level 15. Duh, I can read. So I'm not level 15, so I can't wear that yet. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, PlayStation fanboys I think are also there. Oh, I'm clipping hardcore. Okay. So I've seen similar stuff with PlayStation for sure. I think it's just console war fanboyism in general gets a little mad, if we're being real.
So I'll keep you informed on the second channel. Ad time. Look, I needs Battle.com. Fallout fans made their pre-orders, and the most dedicated pre-ordered the Power Armor Edition. Wow. It came with a helmet, box, map, army toys, and a genuine West Tech canvas bag. Fast forward to the release, and customers noticed that their precious bags, which are supposed to be made of the finest canvas in the land,
yummy.
Look a bit different.
Bruh.
In fact, it looks like a carry bag the real bag should come in.
For real.
Bruh.
It was
Did
so
they
crappy.
Really just advertise one thing and deliver another? You can't do that. So there was a surge of backlash, and people began emailing Bethesda, asking for refunds, asking for answers. By this point,
and this is the danger of hype, they'll buy those collector's editions and then get super pissed when they get them. And they'll blame the company for sure, but I put a lot of weight on the accounts that hype them up. That's maybe you don't, maybe you separate the two, but as an online content creator, I put a lot of responsibility on the people making the content that hypes people to this point.
Customer service is absolutely over it. They are done with the facade, and they send this email in response.
Hello. We are sorry that you aren't happy with the bag. The bag
I also love the robotic voice. It's very appropriate for how Bethesda handled this.
shown in the media was a prototype and was too expensive to make. We aren't planning on doing anything about it.
That's the whole email. Staff at Bethesda aren't even hiding their contempt anymore. Naturally, the internet goes wild.
Are you fucking kidding me? Wow.
The quartering. I heard the quartering is going to be doing a boxing match with Review Tech USA. Is that true? Because if that's true, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't even know. Like the Boogie Wings one was crazy and weird, but man, I'd 100% watch that. Yeah, I would. I'll be honest, I would like to see Rich from Review Tech win, but does anyone even watch the quartering? Yeah, a lot of incels do. It's pretty funny. Might be a Twitter beef. I don't know. I would honestly, I'd probably watch it. I think it'd be funny.
Wow.
Well, I got so mad, I shaved everything off my face.
Okay guys, this is a bit of a PR nightmare. We have to quell the outrage. What do we do? Well, we've got this in-game currency. Let's just give them the minimum amount of that.
Or is it too late?
Fantastic
Oh,
idea.
it's too late. I failed it
Hear
somehow.
ye. Anyone who paid $200 to $300 for the Power Armor Edition is hereby entitled to $5 worth of in-game currency.
Treble!
Treble Champ super chatted $6.30. Hi Luke, love the content. However, I have all platforms and a NASA PC as you put it. By far the most rabid and unreasonable fanboys are PC players.
I don't know. I guess maybe I don't follow the right accounts. But on, like, if you're looking on Twitter, you see some craziness in Twitter fanboy accounts, like console fanboy accounts, specifically for console war stuff. Just like straight up delusional stuff. Like the one we looked at earlier where the guy was like, yeah, GTA 6 is going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5. That's my prediction. It's ridiculous. PC fanboys, yeah, PC Master Race is definitely a thing, but at least in my experience, I haven't seen them like load up in like squads going into chats of streams and like trying to hate on people for talking down the PSVR2. I posted that video of the PSVR2. I said like, I don't think this is worth buying. Maybe one day it'll be worth buying, but right now there's just not enough games to justify the expense of $500, especially because the titular main game, the flagship game, was that Call of the Wild, whatever, Call of the Mountain, the Horizon VR game, and it got like 7 out of 10 from most outlets. So I was like, clearly, I think a 7 out of 10 is not enough to warrant you spending $500. It just isn't. It's just not. And there was like a concerted effort from PlayStation fanboys where they got together in a Discord group or subreddit, and they all came into the video of that live stream reaction, and within like 15 minutes left 80 to 100 comments on that video. Just unloading. Oh, this is L-Take, bro. The PSVR 2 is a stunning piece of technology. Like, it was ridiculous. It was crazy. I was like, you guys care this much about hyping up a Japanese giga corporation? Like, cringe, dude. Okay, do your thing. Thanks for the view. But I will agree, PC gamers are certainly there. PC Master Race. Oh, look, the Call of... Oh, that's funny. The depth of field glitches out. You see, the depth of field has it, so I'm looking at this rock, so the depth of field is focused on that rock. But look above. Look at these trees over there. When I look down, the trees in front of them have depth of field applied, but the distant trees don't. It's very subtle, but it doesn't look right. That's funny.
That you'll be able to spend with us. 500 atoms? Fuck yeah! What are you gonna do with your atoms? I'm gonna buy 5/18 of the white paint version of the power armor. Whoa! What about you? Lightwood laminate, lightwood laminate, lightwood laminate. Fuck the bag! He's right! Fuck the bag! Lightwood laminate, lightwood laminate, lightwood laminate, lightwood laminate, lightwood... Of course, this was Bethesda's fantasy of what would happen. What really happened is further outrage, and even the media started piling on.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
It even became part of that class action lawsuit from earlier. Bethesda put out a tweet apologizing for their poor customer service and gave a different excuse for why they didn't make the bags. A shortage of material, apparently. That was quickly debunked. Because it turns out they did make the canvas bag, except they gave them all out.
This is what's really egregious. Like, again, they're trying to win over creators and fanboys to continue hyping the game because they know if they hype their fans, they'll make money off of the fans. So they spend money winning over creators and meanwhile screwing over the customers that follow the creators. This is why I put so much weight on like responsible skepticism in video game journalism and coverage. It matters. And that the companies that make these piles of garbage know it matters, which is why they try to win over the creators in this way.
To influencers. Oh dear. It's not the same one, of course, but it's sourced from that ever-scarce material, canvas. But what's more amusing is that it turns out there is a canvas bag in the game. If you don the postman's outfit, which of course can be found at the Atom Shop, for 700 atoms. Ooh, just short. Well, the bleating from the online community continued, and Bethesda's lawyers realized there would be trouble, so they decided to capitulate. Alright, fine, we'll make your precious fucking bag. If you want to claim it, you'll have to fill out this form with your name, personal details, address, etc., etc. And we'll
Real
ship
good
out the
cover
bag
there,
to you
dude.
in 4 to 6 months. But it doesn't quite end there.
I'll be fair to them, though. It does take about that long to actually get something like that produced. So they weren't just like dragging their feet. But it does show that they were not about to, like, they never planned on making the actual canvas bag. It was never on their priority list. Like, they were never doing it, which is why they had to start from scratch, which is, you know, why it took 4 to 6 months.
Because Bethesda is known for bugs, and of course their website is a buggy mess too. Turns out all of the customer support inquiries are unsecure and open to the public. In fact, people can open and close and change them at will. Listed are details of full legal names, phone numbers, home addresses, and more. If you've requested your canvas bag, you've just been doxxed.
Oops.
Not knowing how to immediately fix the problem, Bethesda panics and temporarily shuts down the whole website. And that is the tale of the Duffel kerfuffle.
The Duffel kerfuffle. Like, they can get sued into oblivion for leaking and missing all that information, especially if you can demonstrate that it was willful and knowledgeable cost cutting and failure on their part. Like, they could have fixed it. They could have avoided the exploit, but they chose not to by cutting corners. If they can demonstrate that, they are screwed. Low power? Oh no.
How could this have been so difficult? They made one for New Vegas. One last piece of merch. A rum drink. Nuka-Cola Dark. Pre-orders available in September. Shipped out on November 14th. $80 plus postage and handling. Not cheap. But in return you got a very cool bootle. Looks good on the shelf. A great conversation piece with the family over Thanksgiving.
It looks so crappy.
Or at least it would have been. November 14th came and went, and there was no rum. Okay. A week later, on November 21st, an email comes through. There's a delay. Things aren't up to the usual Fallout standard, they say. The usual Fallout standard.
All of this just works.
Things aren't up to the usual Fallout standard. So we'll have it for you soon. No specific date given.
1 week later.
Nothing. Then on December 5th, another email. Good news. We start shipping on December 12th. It's been nearly 3 months since you pre-ordered, but as a show of good faith, we made this promotional video for you. And this is where things went from
Yeah, dude, they just subtly show this thinking people are going to be like, oh, that looks awesome.
Tardy to retardy. Right there. Did you catch that? That's just a regular industry bottle and a plastic shell. We paid $80 and waited a quarter of a year for a plastic shell? People were not happy. Look at that ratio. Nothing in the marketing said that it was a plastic shell. Super premium, we were promised. And the media agreed. People began cancelling their orders. Silver Screen tries to convince people that it's not cheap and shitty. It actually costs us twice as much.
If you ever have to, like, explain to your audience, I forget who it was. Hold on, maybe I can find it. It was a politician. If you're explaining, you're losing. Was it Ronald Reagan? If you're explaining, you're losing. Very simple quote, but it's true in politics and in everything in pop culture. If you're explaining, you're losing. And when they're having to explain, no, it's not a pile of garbage. We actually spent a ton of money on the plastic mold. You've lost. You've lost.
Much to make the plastic one than the glass one. Then what the fuck? We spent 100 hours coding the design. Convincing stuff. So it arrives, just a few days before Christmas. The rum is about the quality you'd expect.
Can I swear on this? It's my own show.
Worse is the design. The oversized lip means liquid can pour inside the shell.
Hard to pour because how they made this damn thing. Spilled like half the shot.
Very dribbly.
So you're best off opening the whole thing up to prevent spilling. If you do that, there's a good chance that you'll snap the flimsy plastic. Any liquid will immediately ruin this cheap paper sticker. Some made their own at home and the quality was about on par. But look, if you do want a decent version of this product, there are reputable sellers of them. They're on Etsy. They're far cheaper, and they actually give a shit. Not gonna lie though, some of the memes that came out of this were pretty good. Now, many claim that this was an honest mistake.
Sorry.
Or that customers were at fault for misinterpreting ambiguous marketing. I disagree. All of the marketing shows other glass items. All of the mock-ups show something more akin to frosted glass than plastic. They give plenty of descriptions of the product too, and not once do they mention plastic. And they were engaged in a bunch of other tomfuckery as well. Before the product was even available, they flooded their own product reviews with a bunch of 5
Which is illegal.
stars.
Pretty sure.
This raised some eyebrows, and people on Reddit even called them out for it, so they deleted them. You can see all this activity on the Wayback Machine. Now, if they're happy to deceive people in this way, it seems silly to give them the benefit of the doubt about the glass. It's also worth quickly talking about the Bethesda merch store. Some of these items are pretty neat. That's cool. Good idea. I'd have that. Fallout 76 pan.
I got that Fallout cookbook for Christmas.
Good idea. I'd have that.
Yeah, that one. It's upstairs somewhere. Recipes are pretty good. Give him that.
Fallout 76 pant. Singular. But why is he so mad? The photography is all just slightly off.
The wedgie in the sweatpants, dude. Oh, man. The wedgie sells it. Oh, man. Oh. Looks like we're going to get that Gollum review code after all, guys. Looks like we're going to get it.
This gaudy jacket was mocked relentlessly on social media. But does the $76 and $276 really make it more immersive? And why did they just toss it on the ground? And it comes in this crumpled up toddler body bag. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in merch and you don't have an iron? Why is she wearing the size XXL? She's clearly not happy about it. But who looked at this and said, good job, print? Now that's surprising.
I don't think they ever had that in stock. I think they just put it as sold out.
They made the bottle properly. Yeah, one of those please, but bigger and brown. Is that so hard? Let's get back to the game. December 2018. There are 2 new patches released that caused quite a stir. First, the good. For PC, they included a number of quality of life improvements, including push to talk. But it also brought in field of view sliders. Hooray! Increased stash capacity from 400 pounds to 600 pounds, and a small buff to automatic weapons. Hooray! They decreased the carry weight of bobby pins so it no longer took up 10 to 20% of people's inventory.
I got a box of bobby pins
Oh,
the
this.
other week that said,
I didn't realize I was quoting this video. Yeah. This is amazing.
weigh these.
There were also upgrades to the camp that allowed for easier construction, and a bunch of bug fixes. Hooray. The bad. A whole bunch of unannounced stealth nerfs. They generally made the
Gotta
game
love
grindy.
this.
Ammo production was decreased. Fusion cores burnt out faster. Legendary enemies spawned less frequently.
On guard, I'll fuck you up.
And the backlash was significant, because everybody knew why Bethesda was doing it. To encourage people to use the Atomic Shop. And let's talk briefly about that store. Some of the prices are outrageous. A Christmas tree for $12, a Santa outfit for $20, blue and yellow paint for $18. Oh look, $3 for the same sweater vest and slacks item imported from Fallout 4. But the biggest offense of all was the holiday emote bundle. $24 for some Christmas themed emotes. Twice the price of these games. The media agreed that these were egregious prices. But worse, they're engaged in some deceiving marketing practices too. Oh look, it's marked down half price. But it's not. It was released half price. They're artificially jacking up the price, only to then give it a fake limited time discount in order to create a sense of urgency. That's illegal, here in Australia at least, in Canada and in the EU. Reddit quickly picked up on this and pointed it out. Bethesda reacted by scrapping the discount and just setting it as the always intended price.
Yeah, they knew.
Okay, it's been about 25 minutes of whining now, so I'm just going to leave it here. I didn't even get a chance to touch on the new pay-to-win fiasco. The new camera item that lets you teleport, dwindling player numbers. But on the flip side, they're also adding new content and improving the game over time.
Wait, where did the power armor go? I got out of it right here. I know it's just the skeleton, but I'm carrying the other pieces. What? I'm carrying the pieces, but the frame I left right here. I didn't think the frame would despawn. It auto recalls? Okay. I'm just surprised it's still, like, it disappeared.
Heck, No Man's Sky was a surprising comeback. So, maybe Bethesda can do it too. But for now, Todd returns to cryostasis, hiding in his bunker until the bombs of outrage stop falling, and returning only when it's time to get our hopes up once again.
Man, I want to know if Todd has, like, seen these videos and if he watches them. Right? Like, I would just love to know what his reaction is. VATS, not turret. I don't really like VATS in Fallout 76. I like it in the other games, but in this, I'm not really about it. Okay. I don't know. I prefer it when it actually is, like, actually doing something really useful. The real-time VATS I'm just not that into. Fallout 69. Lord of the Rings Return of the King on Xbox is still the best, convince me otherwise. I think it's a little bit unfortunate that they are fighting this uphill battle with the Gollum game. Everybody has the perception already that it's probably gonna suck, which is just too bad. Because it doesn't have to. I mean, it doesn't have to, but everything they've shown is, let's just say, not perfect. Could use a little refinement, I think, in my humble opinion. Okay. Over here looks nice. I think he's too vain for criticism. I don't know. I just have to imagine, like, at this point, surely they are aware of some of these things. Like, they have to be aware that people have this perception about them. The people are generally pretty pissed off about all of it. I'm gonna just build, like, a super... One thing, and I've said this before, I will say it again, one thing I am actually pretty pumped for with Starfield is the shipbuilding and customization. I am straight up excited for that. Switch to modify. Make a story. Okay, I don't need to make 2 stories. I'm fine. Yeah, I just would think that he's got to be aware. And if he's not aware, I mean, he's straight up delusional. But even if he is aware, do you think, like, does he even care? That's the thing. I'm not sure if he even really cares, because it doesn't really matter. Nick, hey Luke, just subbed for 3 months. Oh, thank you, my friend. Subbing and say, have a good stream and thanks for the great vids. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. Thank you. I don't know. I just think even if he's aware, he probably doesn't care that much. Oh man, having to use a separate the keyboard for this. It's E. It's not right click or left click. Oh, I'm out of wood. I have no more wood. Doors, crafting, traps, defenses, generators, power, light, food, appliances, beds, chairs, stash boxes. Do I just not have any stash boxes available? I can't build stash boxes. Okay, well. Yeah, I have to find a plan. And then for all these, I need a little more wood. Okay. A meat bag! Okay, well, let me go over here. Can I just get wood from over here? Or do I have to... I'm gonna have to discover it. Even though I'm surrounded by wood, do I have to go discover it? I have to find it in a drawer. I'm guessing that's what has to happen. Oh, well... Am I really? I don't think that the stuff I picked up, the armor pieces, this didn't look that great. Disease, airborne, waterborne. Yeah, Raider power stuff. It hurts, but I think I'm just going to drop it. We'll find better stuff later. And you're right. Yeah, here's the chassis. You do pick it up. I don't know why you'd pick it up, but apparently you do. Food and drink. I guess they just don't want it to be like sitting out and about, get stolen, so they bring it with you. Mm-hmm. 65, repair kit, hollow notes, junk. Sort by weight. Bag of fertilizer. I don't need these anymore because it failed that quest. So I guess I got to hold them. Just... Okay, and then this is the paper bag with all that stuff. So that stuff was supposed to drop. It just didn't. Okay. By the way, yes, this is running on Ultra. I know it's 5 years old, but just letting everybody know. Is that a raider? It's a cultist. Oh! Okay. I didn't even see that Molotov go out. Oh, I saw that one. I saw that one real good. I saw that one real good. My goodness. I don't need your pickaxe. Don't need your pickaxe. Yeah, I'll take that. Short pipe rifle. I think I'm okay. The moth disappeared, which is a bummer. I was looking forward to fighting that guy, but oh well. Oh well. Drink a beer. I'm doing the Penn Gillette playthrough, so no drinking. I just don't have any in my inventory, I don't think, that I saw. But I'm okay now. I'm good. I think we... Leader of the Pack is an event. Protest March. Saigon. Let's head over here. Let's meet a level 600 plus character. Yeah, I know you can loot everything at the same time, but I don't want to pick up things I don't want. So I don't have very high stats since we just started, so every pound counts. Okay, where's that other player? Where? Hello? It's like straight ahead. He's over here somewhere. You want to receive a reward? Okay, I'll go back. Go back. Let's just hope he does it. The Grafton Station. The Grafton Station. The ballot printers. Duct tape. Duffel bag. I know it makes some people kill the protesters. Okay. I know it makes some people like they're ghouls carrying signs. Okay. That's funny. I'll give you that. That's funny. Oh, jeez. You're telling me that didn't hit. That didn't hit. What is this? Come on. Come on. Gotta hop off for a meeting. Have a good rest of the stream. Pretty alright. Sounds good. Thank you, my friend. Oh, God. Run. Run. I'm stuck. Don't mind me. Just plinking them off one by one. Oh, God. Do they seriously not see me from behind the bush? Oh, just let them do their thing. Come on. There we go. Okay, we did it. We did it. Honestly, not a bad event. Plenty of enemies, lots of stuff. It runs way better than I remember it running at launch. Whenever there were more than like 2-3 enemies on screen, it started to really struggle. But that time it had no problems as far as I saw. Lots of enemies on screen, lots of stuff happening, and it kept up pretty well. Let's take all of that stuff because they seem more rare. And now we get to loot it up. Crystal shards, protest sign. The protest signs are pretty funny. God, that scoped Magnum gives me Fallout 3 nostalgia. Yeah, dude, for real. The good old days. I heard another super mutant. Just killed his dog. Let's go up here. Squirrel on a stick in a random cooler. Oh God. I can't open the door. Oh no. E. I can't open the door. Crouch.
"16 times the detail."
Well, like, again, let's be real, okay? I know what some are gonna say. Okay, I already see it. It says close the door. Oh, hey, I just had to let it work itself out. Is that gonna like ruin the game? Is that a game-breaking bug? No. Like, let's be honest, no, it's not. Is it really stupid? Yeah. Or like this weird purple light that's shining there. Is that stupid? Yeah. Should that be there 5 years after launch? No, it shouldn't. But frankly, it's just one more thing, you know? It's just one more little annoyance that sits on top of all of this to just give you one more excuse not to play it. And frankly, in the realm of these types of games, players are so... like, there's so many options out there for players, right? There's so many games that you could be playing. And when there's a game like this that comes along that has a lot of problems and not a whole lot of upside that I've seen so far, it starts to make you really question whether or not your time's being wasted, or if you would just have more fun playing something else. And frankly, so far, granted, I'm going into this playing solo, so I'm not playing with anybody in my party. I'll be doing that later today, and we're gonna be seeing how the game runs and how it works when we play like that. But as a solo player, so far, I haven't really been exposed to the community in any sort of way where I feel like super welcome, or I feel like, oh, this, I'm going to keep playing for this. When I played Hell Let Loose, somebody joined. I was playing with Caleb. We went into a battle, and we were in a little whatever brigade or whatever, and there was one empty spot. And this guy joined our party and started doing the voice chat. And he started explaining, oh yeah, I'm part of a team of like vets. We served in Afghanistan or Desert Storm, some of us, and we even have a couple of Vietnam vets. And we play Hell Let Loose, and we teach new players the ropes. And we're like, that's awesome. So like, he played a few battles with us to show us how the game worked and what you need to do to figure it out. And it was amazing. It was crazy. I was like, I don't think I've ever had played a game where like the experienced players are actively seeking me out, not knowing who I am or what I do, but actively seeking out just strange players that they don't know and showing them how the game works and what they need to do to have a good time. It was so impressive and refreshing and just different. And while I have encountered, like playing this right now, we're playing Fallout 76 without the pacifist mode turned on. So we could get jumped by trolls, by people who are trying to ruin our day. What's the term for that in a online game. I'm blanking. Starts like a B, I think. Oh my god, griefers. It starts with a G. Like we haven't really run into any griefers or anything. So I'll give them the credit there. We have not seen a toxic community or anything like that. Everybody we've encountered seems to be happy, doing their own thing. But it's just that everybody's off doing their own thing. You see how spread out everybody is. Just having fun doing their own bits and bops. These guys seem to be playing together probably. And so it just begs the question, okay, well then why am I playing this online game if I'm just going to be playing alone? Why not just go play Fallout 4 again or New Vegas or Fallout 3? And that's kind of where I'm at. Like this whole game just makes me wonder why not just boot up Fallout 3 again? Why not just go back in and play Fallout 4 or New Vegas with some mods and stuff? Because there's not a lot of meat on the bone as far as I'm seeing. You can join a team right now if you want. Yeah. And like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the afternoon. Once we hop off stream, I'm going to be trying the multiplayer stuff. Because all of this is for a video that is going to be going up tomorrow, just so everybody knows. But I'm going to be trying the multiplayer stuff and joining random parties, seeing how it goes. And I'm going to see if that greatly changes the experience to the point where I'm like, okay, I get it now. Because I hope to get it. I would love to have a new game that's like a new obsession for me. I would love it. But I'm not sure if this is going to be it, you know. I'm hopeful, but we're going to see. We're going to see. That's the thing. Fallout 4 wasn't perfect, but this is just lackluster in every way imaginable. X and Y, I heard a quote from another creator that I actually thought was pretty funny, where he was describing Fallout 76. Forgive me, I don't remember the name of the guy that did this. I'm blanking on his name. If it's going to come to me randomly, but I saw like a Twitter video that quoted it and was like, I think this is really accurate with Fallout 76 and so many games we've played. What he said was Fallout 76, everybody agrees, was a dumpster fire at launch. But the problem with dumpster fires is that the moment you put it out, it's still a dumpster filled with garbage. So you can put out the fire with Fallout 76, get rid of the bugs, polish it, refine it, get performance better. But if it's a dumpster fire, it's still a dumpster full of garbage. And I hope that that's not the case once I try the multiplayer stuff this afternoon. I hope to have some more stuff. But I mean, it's the same thing with like Redfall. Redfall's a dumpster fire. And once you put out the fire, it's still a dumpster. It's still garbage. There's no magic fixing that. You just made it so it doesn't reek as badly, you know? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to try the multiplayer mode later and we're going to see what's happening. Steffi, good to see you. You're back right as I'm wrapping up, of course, because I'm going to go give Miss Nikki a break while we prep the last bits of this video and rock and roll. But I want to thank everybody for chilling with me, everybody for being here today. I've had a great time. New video will be up tomorrow. It was going to be up today, but we ran into some problems with this stuff. Give Lockie a high five for me. I'll do that, Imperium. I can do that. High five. I can do that. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for all the love and support. Thank you for all the super chats, donos, memberships, all of that stuff. It's wonderful. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Much love. We'll be back on Monday. And next week's the PlayStation Showcase. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be awesome. So much love. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.